If you've ever spilled coffee all over your counter in the morning because you're half asleep while trying to make it, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, where we cover the news, go over what is moving stocks, and then actually trade the market. It's Wednesday, it's hump day, so we're at the middle of the week here today. We do have some news to go over here today. There's some Fed speakers going on today. There's obviously some earnings going on. Bank earnings started off yesterday. ASML is reporting here this morning. So we got a lot of stuff to go through. Got some trading to do. We're going to have a great day. We also have Melvin here. So we're going to go ahead and get all of that done. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Wednesday edition for October 15th, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. Hope you had a wonderful rest of your Tuesday evening. I missed another parlay by one shot attempt from Nikita Kucherov. So close to taking home some more money from that, but I'll get those hockey bets dialed in here pretty soon. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces this morning. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Hope you're first here today. So early bird gets the worm. Good stuff. Big Dave, good morning and happy hump day. Indeed, Big Dave, good morning and welcome back. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Brian, good morning. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Zach, good morning. My name is Oil, cooking oil. I love the James Bond reference there. And cooking oil is topical today because all of our movers are moving based on the Trump comment about not buying Chinese oil because we can just make it here, which makes a lot of sense, to be quite honest with you. Peter, good morning. Good to see you again. Hello. Big Bees, welcome back. Chuck, good morning. Jim, good morning. Yes, that girl, good morning. Ryan, good morning. I'm very excited about today. I see what you did there, Rhino. I see what you did there. $10 today, and I'll have my biggest single stock gain ever. Yo, let's get that done here today. That's a good record to get done here today. Let's do it, Ryan. Ricardo, good morning. Welcome. Dan, good morning. Welcome back. Kelly, good morning. Azrar, good morning. Marty, good morning. D, good morning. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Cad Monkey, good morning. Producers locked in as always. Cam, good morning. Rooster, good morning. And positive vibes only, absolutely. Job's hard enough. Day's crazy enough. World is crazy enough. So positive vibes, something that we can control. Yep. That's exactly what we're going to do. Good morning, Rooster. It's good to see you again. Just passing through. Good morning. I can't pronounce Gabriel Eric. I'll just go with that because that's easy. Good morning. Harley, good morning. Kevin, good morning. Maverick, good morning. Joseph and Arhan, good morning. Dara, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Angelo, good morning. Judge, good morning. Dan Nick, good morning. Yeah, so fine. Welcome back. Good to see you here this morning. Edward, good morning. Gene, good morning. Brian, good morning. EB2156A. We had your brother B in here. Good to see you this morning. Good morning. Melissa, good morning. Catherine, it's good to see you again. Tom, Kendall, and Lambo Rolls, good morning. Workstation, Harvey, Brandy, and AC, good morning. Durkis, Sean, Johnny, and Tennis is Life, good morning. Christian, Clement, and Habi, good morning. Take the Sabres tonight. Trust. Okay, that's interesting. I haven't watched many Sabres games this year. I might actually throw that on. And I don't generally bet the outcomes. I try to bet shot attempts just so it doesn't really matter who wins. But I will take that with a grain of salt and take a look at that. Thank you, Habi. Uncle Dracula. How about that for a handle? Good morning. You better make sure that you get all your trading done before the sun comes up. Am I right? Knights Lance, good morning. Desiree, good morning. Alvin and Kona, good morning. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Cam, Ahmed, and White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. Joe, good morning. Puget Point Capital, good morning. Corey, Big Bear Hug, and Michelle, good morning. Philip, Tyler, and 3D, good morning. 3D, buenos dias, since I can actually do that in a different language. Whis, good morning. Raj, good morning. And I think that's it. Blaze, Rhino, and Frank, good morning. Good to see all of you. Let's go ahead and start with our stock market today. All right, futures are in the green here this morning for this Wednesday morning, October 15th. S&P futures up 0.68%, Dow futures up 0.5%, and the Nasdaq futures up 0.86% ahead of today's open. Let's take a look at some cues from last session. Industrials, consumer staples, and financial stocks recorded the biggest gains on Tuesday, leading most S&P 500 sectors to a positive close, though consumer discretionary and information technology stocks ended up closing lower. Among the big banks that reported on Tuesday, surpassing analyst expectations were Wells Fargo, Citigroup, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs. Investors are awaiting results from Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, and Abbott Labs here this morning, and I believe Bank of America is out. That's trading higher. Morgan Stanley, I saw that is out. That's trading higher. And ABT here is trading a little bit lower on the back of its earnings report. Meanwhile, the futures were rejoicing from comments from the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, who said that, quote, downside risks to employment appear to have risen, end quote. This implies more rate cuts are in the cards, so maybe we do get our cut here in October. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.01%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.47%. That 10-year bond is stubbornly hanging on to that 4 handle. We'd love to see that trade into the 3 handle. Some stocks in focus. It's going to be some of those banks here. Bank of America rose 0.76% ahead of its earnings before the opening bell. Analyst estimates earnings of 96 cents per share and revenue of 27.5 billion. Morgan Stanley, that advanced 1.52% as analyst earnings estimate earnings at 210 per share on revenue of 16.7 billion. And Abbott Labs, that was up 0.36% higher ahead of its earnings before the opening bell. Analyst estimates earnings of 130 per share on revenue of 11.4 billion. So of those three, ABT, Abbott Labs, the only stock to trade lower so far. ASML also in play here today. That jumped 3.74% after reporting better than expected third quarter bookings. The company said net bookings rose to 5.4 billion euro or 6.27 billion in the third quarter, 6.27 billion US dollars in the third quarter. Also, Papa John's shares, ticker PZZA, shares surged 11.69% following reports that Apollo Global Management has submitted a new takeover bid. Apollo sent Papa John's a fresh offer last week to take the pizza chain private for $64 a share. That post was according to Reuters. By the way, ticker PZZA did trade up to a high of 57 in the after hours yesterday, currently hovering just beneath 54 at 53.80. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts. Great to see more people filing in here. ATL Russ, good to see you again. Ahmed, Neville, Abby, Austin, Robert, Jay Rice, and Get to the Choppa. Absolutely love it. Let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. In his analysis, David Kelly, chief global strategist at JP Morgan, outlines the steady deterioration of U.S. government finances, projecting the federal deficit to climb to $2.132 trillion, or 6.7% of GDP in the current fiscal year. This path is expected to push the total debt to GDP ratio above 102% within a year, a trend Kelly believes is unsustainable long term. While he notes that the global bond markets still appear willing to lend to the U.S. government at relatively low rates, he addresses the key investor questions of when the debt will become a major crisis. That's something that a lot of folks are really looking at or trying to figure out, I should say. He states that while America is, quote, going broke slowly, end quote, the risk that political choices could accelerate this process adds an important reason for investors to consider diversifying their portfolios with international stocks and alternative assets. It's great that this comment is coming here on Wednesday because we're going to speak to Tim Melvin. And if you've been paying attention to what Tim Melvin has been doing over the past couple of months, you realized he was actually ahead of this curve. He was absolutely diversifying his portfolio with international and alternative assets. We do have some upcoming economic data y'all should be aware of here today. October's Empire State Manufacturing Survey, that'll be out by 8:30, so in the next 20 minutes here. Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic will speak at 12:10 p.m., and Fed Governor Stephen Miran will speak at 12:30. Fed Governor Christopher Waller will speak at 1, and the Beige Book data will be released at 2. Just a quick look in here at some commodities and crypto. Crude oil futures were trading lower in the New York session by 0.02%, hovering around 58.69 per barrel. The gold spot US dollar rose 1.16% to hover around 4,190.16 per ounce. Its last record high stood at 4,218.32 per ounce. The U.S. dollar index spot was 0.19% lower at the 98.854 level. Meanwhile, crypto Bitcoin was trading 0.63% higher at 112,658. Quick look at the futures here. Bitcoin futures 112,395 at present. This is actually down about 0.61%. Asian markets closed higher on Wednesday as Australia's ASX 200, South Korea's Kospi, India's Nifty 50, and Hong Kong's Hang Seng, China CSI 300, and Japan's Nikkei all fell. European markets were mixed in early trade here today. All right. Amazon's making some news here. Let's actually go. Oh, you know what? I forgot to start with the SPY chart like a complete doofus. Let's go ahead and actually do that. Let's start with the SPY chart here. It's interesting because with the last 3 sessions, we're still inside the mother bar from Friday that really brought us down to the 50-day. Yesterday's candle I thought was interesting because not only did we retest that 50-day that held prior support, but we also tested the upside trend line that we did not have the strength to get through. That's going to be the 20-day moving average. So we basically tested 665.13 to the upside and 653.50 to the downside, and we're still holding within that range. Now, if we look inside the SPY here today, it does look like we're going to try and take out some of these previous all-time highs that we've noted as previous resistance areas. 667.34 is exactly where we find ourselves right now. And if we go back to the daily chart, that's basically the bottom price level here. So it does look like if we trade any higher here today, we're going to trade into this, 5.5 point range where we traded sideways prior to that Friday session that really kind of knocked us out of that sideways range. It'll be interesting to see if we can get back in there and hold, or if we even make an attempt to challenge the 673 upside level or the previous all-time high. Remember, I actually did not adjust this because I was wondering, are we actually going to turn over from here? And I wanted to leave the original top call on there. The all-time high here, 673.94. So about a full point higher than the one we have marked off on the chart. Now, the next news story that I want to talk about is going to be Amazon. So what we'll do is we'll start with the chart here. Shout out to our group who's been looking at Amazon for day trades. Yesterday, I know the bounce off that 213 level actually paid really well. Amazon went to the 219 handle, so 6 points intraday if you stuck with it. When we take a look at the daily chart here, you can see why this is important. Amazon right now doing its absolute best to hold on to that 200-day moving average. We do see a number of wicks below. We peaked below that 200-day moving average yesterday, but as mentioned, buyers brought us back above that, and we did actually close in the green. The next upside level I have here very, very clearly, 222. All right, that's going to be the convergence of the 100-day moving average and the 20-day moving average. That 20-day has really been sloping down since we broke through it back on September 22nd. It'd be interesting to see if Amazon can kind of turn this around and maybe carve out a near-term bottom here around that 214 or that 200-day moving average. Now, the news here, Amazon plans to cut 15% of its HR staff, and more layoffs are expected across some of its other divisions as the e-commerce giant ramps up its AI investments. So maybe we are seeing AI taking some of the jobs here, at least in the Amazon Human Resources department. The company is set to cut a significant portion of its human resources division, known internally as PXT, or the People's Experience Technology Team. That was reported by Fortune yesterday. These cuts are also expected to impact other areas of Amazon's core business. The PXT division, which under the leadership of Senior Vice President Beth Galetti has over 10,000 employees globally, This division includes a large recruitment team, technology staff, and other conventional HR roles. The exact number of employees to be laid off and the timing of the cuts are yet to be disclosed. The company did not respond to Benzinga's request for comment, at least not yet. The potential layoffs come just after the company announced plans to recruit 250,000 seasonal workers across its U.S. warehouse and logistics operation. Obviously, we're gearing up for the very busy Q4 holiday season. Amazon has also been ramping up its AI investments, saying it will pour over $100 billion this year into AI initiatives. In June, the company cut jobs in its books division, including roles at Goodreads and Kindle. The company laid off 200 jobs in its fashion and fitness division as part of a nationwide restructuring in January. Despite these layoffs, Amazon stock has been performing well over the past 6 months as it surged 20%. Really, it's been a huge mover since that Liberation Day trade. And taking a look here at the proprietary Benzinga rankings and trends here, it actually does not have an intact short-term trend. This is one of the things that we're looking to see turn around here if it can get back above that 20-day. It does not have an intact medium-term trend, but it does, in fact, have an intact long-term trend, And you can see it scores very highly on growth and pretty moderately on momentum, quality, and value. So let me know if we do trade Amazon here today. I would imagine when Izzy gets here, we'll probably be looking at some of that. Again, yesterday's low, 213, 214 going to be that 200-day moving average that we really want to pay attention to. Now, next here, it would not be a normal morning on this show without a story about Palantir. So that's what we'll do now. Palantir CEO Alex Karp reportedly has held confidential meetings with top executives from former South Korean conglomerates to discuss AI strategy as the software company bets on the growth of its platform. Karp met with executives from 4 major South Korean companies during Tuesday's AX Leaders Summit, which was hosted by KT Corp, that ticker KT, by the way, in Seoul, as reported by the Korea Economic Daily. The meetings were held in strict secrecy, with each executive placed in a separate room to ensure the company's AI strategy remained confidential. I've yet to hear if anyone put a glass up to the door to see what was going on in the other room, but we'll keep trying to look for that. Quote, every meeting was kept secret to prevent exposure from each company's AI transformation strategy. It was orchestrated with almost military discipline, end quote. The publication reported that, citing a familiar source with the matter. The Korean executives included Woo Ki-hong, vice chairman of Korean Airlines, Kim Yong-boom, vice chairman of Meritz Financial Group, and Koo Jae-kyun, chairman of LS Electric Company, and Lee Ju-tae, CEO of POSCO Holdings. That's ticker PKX. Each meeting lasted approximately 25 minutes. Karp and Koo discussed AI-powered data centers and LS Electric's use of Palantir technology, according to the report. The meetings underscore Palantir's growing interest in South Korea's data-rich manufacturing sector. The company did not immediately respond to Benzinga's request for comment. Now, Palantir is making significant strides in AI and data analytics space. Just a few days ago, Accenture, ticker ACN, acquired Dichu, a UK-based technology and AI consultancy specializing in Palantir platforms to expand its AI capabilities. The company also surpassed $1 billion in revenue for the first time and raised its full-year outlook in August, thanks to the success of the AI platform. This growth, along with other factors, has led Palantir's valuation being described as, quote, well beyond a perfect 10 and is rather a perfect 100, end quote. That is leading tech analyst and IO fund Beth Kindig. And as you can see on our proprietary ranking scores here, Palantir scoring in the upper threshold of both momentum and growth. Talked a lot about its valuation there. So low value score, really no quality score as of yet. And it is absolutely in trend, both all short, medium, and long-term trend. Okay, one more story here about IREN. Then we're going to get to Tim Melvin here today. I can't wait to see what we have for you here with Mr. Melvin. But first, we're going to take a look at XIII. And one of the reasons we're going to do this is because, first of all, I know XIII has been massively popular amongst this group, as well as some of our guests that we've brought in. Here's a look at the XIII chart. I mean, this thing's just going vertical, just pretty much straight vertical here. Cantor, of course, came out yesterday with the price target of 100. They went from like 45 or 46 to 100, something insane, almost doubled it. You can see XIII's been a huge mover. Grats to anyone that's been trading this. If you are trading this or if you're holding this, my question to you is, what's the exit plan? Is it price? Is it theme? Is it something else? Let me know. Real quick, let's take a look at the story here. Renowned short seller Jim Chanos has publicly attacked the growth narrative for Bitcoin miner and AI cloud provider XIII, that's ticker IREN, alleging that a recent bullish analyst report is built on, quote, ridiculous assumptions, end quote, and unrealistic financial projections. Say it ain't so. In a series of posts on social media platform X, Chanos dismantled Cantor Fitzgerald's report that has been used to justify the optimistic price targets for the company. At the heart of Chanos's critique are the report's financial models, which he argues defy industry norms and basic accounting principles. He specifically targeted the projection that XIII's AI data center business could achieve 80% marginal EBITDA margins. Quote, yet no one is doing much over 50% EBITDA margins right now. Lots of hopium at work in this space right now. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this story in the chat here. There's a link to several of the different tweets that are in here that you might want to go through. If you want to see the spat between Mike Alfred and Jim Chanos, you're welcome to do that. All that's in here. It actually has some pretty good graphics to steelman his point that he's making. Furthermore, Chanos highlighted what he described as ridiculous depreciation schedule for the company's planned $2.9 billion in new equipment. And this is definitely something that a number of folks have talked about. When we talked about AI, we talked about technology and how fast it moves. This is definitely a legitimate concern, and it looks like Chanos is zeroing in on that. He calculated, oh, you had to change right when I was going to read that, right? That had to happen. That had to have happened right at that timing. He calculated that the report assumes an, quote, almost 9-year life, end quote, for the assets, which he notes are likely GPUs that become obsolete far more quickly. And I would agree with this. If they're saying that there's a 9-year lifespan for these GPUs, that seems overly optimistic. Anyone that's built a computer, not even an AI computer, but just a regular computer, knows that 9 years for a graphics card pretty much puts you in a different epoch, if you will, in terms of compute power, especially if you're a gamer. 9 year, you might as well call that a dinosaur at that point, as opposed to just outdated. A more realistic depreciation timeline, he argued, would significantly slash the company's future earnings estimate. The public critique escalated when Chanos engaged in a pointed exchange with XIII board member Mike Alfred. After Alfred popped into Chanos' comment section calling Cantor price targets bearish, Chanos publicly questioned his fiduciary duties. Quote, so as a director of XIII, does this mean we shouldn't expect any more insider sales of stock below 200, Mike? End quote. Chanos adding scrutiny over Alfred's earlier promotion of a competitor. Mike Alfred had said, totally agree, the targets that he's referring to, the Cantor ones, are way too bearish. I don't trust price targets below 200. Thanks for pointing this out, Jim. So that's something that we can watch. Does Mike Alfred actually sell more of his stock? And furthermore, does he sell it beneath 200? That to me would be fairly interesting. XIII scores, again, really high here in growth and momentum, but pretty poor in value and really does not have a quality ranking. It is, in fact, in trend for both, for all short, medium, and long term. Okay, I said that was going to be the last story, but I lied. Got one more real quick one here before we go to Tim. This one's important because we've talked about Eric Jackson and we've actually traded and taken some of his plays in the past. He's got a new one here, and it's on a stock that we've looked at together. Eric Jackson, founder of EMJ Capital, has announced a new long position in Hut 8 Corp, that's ticker HUT, arguing the market misunderstands the company as a simple Bitcoin miner when it's rapidly pivoting to become a significant player in AI infrastructure. In a detailed thread on X, Jackson positioned XIII alongside other high conviction energy and infrastructure plays like IREN and Cipher Mining, ticker CIFR. He asserted that the company's vast power and data center assets are deeply undervalued. According to Jackson, XIII's balance sheet, which includes over $1 billion in Bitcoin and a 60% stake in the American Bitcoin company, that's ticker ABTC, already accounts for most of its current $5.1 billion market cap. Quote, you're essentially paying $1 to $1.5 billion for the entire power, data center, and AI infrastructure platform, end quote. Jackson believes a significant re-rating is imminent as the company secures high-performance computing and AI tenants for its extensive energy capacity. Anyone that wants to go through the thread again, Eric Jackson does have some pretty well thought out threads that have a lot of really important information. So if you want to go through that, link to that thread is in the story here. Jackson outlined a path for massive growth, noting that the company has over 1 gigawatt of active capacity with plans to develop up to 7 gigawatts. Quote, when those deals get announced, Hut stops trading like a miner and starts trading like a digital infrastructure REIT with AI leverage, end quote. Big Bear Hug says sounds like there's more hopium floating around here this morning. And maybe that's the case. The investor projects that if Hut 8 executes on just a quarter of its 7 gigawatt plan, it could achieve a valuation of $37 to $50 billion. Full execution combined with a rising Bitcoin price could lead to a potential 100-fold return by 2029. He also praised Hut 8 CEO Asher Ganoot as a, quote, modern-day tech operator, end quote, capable of delivering on this vision. Jim Chanos made another appearance here. The bull thesis, however, was met with some skepticism. Prominent short seller Jim Chanos questioned the capital required for such an ambitious build-out, commenting, quote, good thing they will only need to raise $280 billion for that 7 gigawatts to be developed. Should be easy, end quote. I don't know if someone got to Chanos' cereal yesterday or he's fighting with his wife or whatever, but he seems awfully upset with some of this. Hut here, high momentum ranking, middle of the road there for value, no growth, no quality, but intact trends on the short, medium, and long term. All right, folks, it's that time of the week. We're going to talk to Tim Melvin. Let's go ahead and bring him on and see what's got him going here today. Tim, good morning. Happy Wednesday, boss. How you?
Happy Wednesday, guys. How is everybody this morning?
Doing better than Jim Chanos, that's for sure.
Well, here's the thing about Jim Chanos. I'm glad you said that, all right? I've been around this business for a very, very long time. And I've seen short sellers come and I've seen them go, mostly go, okay? Short selling is incredibly difficult because you're fighting as a short seller, the natural trend in the economy and in the markets to move higher. You're tending to want to be short overvalued stuff. Overvalued stuff is usually really popular stuff. So you're always kind of fighting the tape, which is difficult. And I've seen short sellers who use fundamentals. I've seen them who use technicals. I've seen some that got famous for a hot minute or two. Most of them get carried out of the building, feet first, on their shield with a bloody tarp thrown over them. It's hard, right? Very, very few short sellers stay in this game as long as Jim Chanos has stayed in this game. Now, I don't always agree with Jim Chanos, but I will tell you this. If I get up in the morning and I see that Chanos has put a short out on one of my stocks, I'm going to go look for what I missed. Because on the fundamental side of ripping this stuff apart, he's really good. Where Chanos loses, when he does lose, it's not because he was wrong on the fundamentals. I don't actually ever recall seeing that happen. Where he's wrong is on the popularity of the stock and the buying pressure behind it. Now, he does manage his leverage pretty good, so he doesn't get eaten up and kicked out. But when you see a really smart guy like Chanos get thrown out of the building, come out and say, hey, caution, watch this one. You know what? Caution, watch this one. He's not a stupid man. And it's the same logic that I always used it. I would never, ever buy into a company with rising short interest. right? Because as a group, shorts tend to be pretty smart, right, on the fundamental side of this thing. And when you're risking capital on the short side, it's like me getting in the ring with Mike Tyson. I know I'm already at a massive disadvantage, but there's something inside me that thinks I can win. In the case
That's
of me,
something inside you's going to get you killed, buddy. That's
well,
not.
and that's the case with most shorts. Yeah, right. I mean, with me getting in the ring with Tyson, what's inside me? It's the LSD. I mean, clearly, it's hallucinogenics. Um, so shorts are not stupid. Don't casually dismiss them, and it's particularly in the case of Chanos, or Ackman for that matter. As
Mhm.
much as Ackman's the modern PT Barnum, he and Elon Musk have go head to head for that title every year. Um, if you see them short your stock, they're smart guys. So pay at least a little bit of attention to what's going on there.
Yeah, and it's a good point, Tim, and it's why I cover it. I know sometimes I joke. I made a joke about someone getting into his cereal and all of that here today. These jokes really started with Peter Schiff because he seems to be upset at
Well, see,
everything all of the time.
Peter Schiff, see the LSD comments. I'm convinced.
Okay. Okay. I definitely want to provide both sides of it. I know Iran's been a huge winner here, and we actually just discussed that Cantor report, I believe yesterday. So wanted to bring the other side of it there, and we're going to keep doing that here.
As you saw by the growth and momentum rankings of both of those stocks, by the way, I mean, there's a bull case here too, right? And
Absolutely.
there's a growth case, and there's money piling into it. But always, and by the way, that ranking is really, really close. I'm very close to the guy that developed the rankings. I feel like he's here with me now. And they're not dissimilar from the Investor Business Daily rankings, except we have a little longer term time frame in ours than they had in theirs. But when you have a 90/90, you've got a lot going in your direction, right?
Yeah, you do.
You've got a growth story that's attracting attention. You almost never see a good value score to go along with that. Right, because popular ain't cheap, right? I don't know how else to put that, but you can ride popular for quite a ways. The key to all of these strategies involving high momentum and high growth is use a tight stop. I mean, William O'Neill made an absolute stone cold fortune. He used 7% stops. He got stopped out a lot. And I saw a great interview with him once where somebody said, "Look, you're getting stopped out all the time." He says, "I know, that's fine. I don't care." He says, "My end goal is to go through a lot of churn to have, at the end of the day, a portfolio of 20 to 25 stocks that are just going up." Like, okay, I can actually get on board with that. That makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, I mean, that distilled is basically take as many shots as you can at quality and growth. Keep a tight stop. You're not going to win all of them, but you're going to let the winners run, and they're going to make up tenfold for the losers that you had a really tight stop on.
Well, and it's something that, and I'd like to claim it's all me, but I kind of stole it from an interview with Paul Tudor Jones years ago. Right, the secret to great trading and great investing, for that matter, is not always being right about what you pick or how much you make when you're right. It's about how much you lose when you're wrong. Right? You can be kind of a moron, and if you're really good at risk control, you're going to make money. Right. So if you just said, I'm going to do a 90/90 and I'm going to use a 10% stop and then move on to the next one, you're probably going to make money. You're only going to have 30 to 40% winners over time. I mean, but you're probably going to make money.
Yeah. Tennis here is, who was the guy that had tight stops? That was William O'Neill.
William O'Neill. And by the way, Paul Tudor Jones uses used on his way up to becoming filthy, dirty rich. He used the tightest stops around.
Okay.
There was a great headline from this guy one time, and because he had picked the bottom in the bond market, it was a huge headline. So they had him on, and they're interviewing him everywhere, as you can imagine. And they said, Paul, you picked the bottom. How do you do that? That's uncanny. He said, well, look, guys, let's be honest. He said, Tudor Jones picks the bottom in the bond market. That's a great headline, and it's so much better than Tudor Jones picks the bottom in the bond market on his 17th try.
That's a good point. That's a good point. All right, Tim, what do you got for us today?
Well, first of all, just real quick, the banking headlines, fantastic, as we knew they would be. You look at JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, particularly Morgan Stanley and Bank of America this morning, and even Goldman. This is trading and investment banking revenue. Wall Street's been some busy boys. and it's been really, really profitable. You can't read too much into this yet as far as banks and the condition of the banking industry until you get downstream here a little bit. You start getting to the PNCs and some of the larger regionals, and then down to the community banks. But going in, I'm just going to tell you, if you're looking for doom and gloom and the end of the world, and you want to be an instant expert of the internet and predict the doom of the banking industry, tough. It ain't going to happen this quarter either. We're going to see decent single-digit revenue growth. You're going to see great credit. You're going to see capital build. You're going to see, I think, a decent, not great quarter out of regional community banks. But the trading banks, I mean, God, I wish I was on a trading desk at Morgan Stanley this week. Those guys made a fortune.
Yeah, I was asking Anne Marie yesterday, what do we think about investment banks, particularly in Q1, Q2 of next year? I am still anticipating a lot of these AI IPOs to come out, the big ones, the ones that you've heard of, Anthropic, Databricks, et cetera. And I'm thinking that that's just going to make the investment bankers even more money. And it likely means a good trade here for Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley.
Anthropic would be crazy to go public here. It makes no sense.
I'm talking 2026. So
no, makes no sense.
You don't think so? Okay.
No. Look at all the unicorns that didn't go public, and there's a reason for it, right? In the old days, you went public because the venture people stopped funding you. That's not the case right now. They're
just going to stay private, not have to report to shareholders, and keep getting funded. I got it.
Yeah, and it's, once they go public, they're going to really be hit with the shareholders and the AI liability suits. And
interesting.
And remember, look at where all the execs at Anthropic came from. All right, they're used to the tech industry. They have the players. They have the relationships. It makes no sense for them or OpenAI or any of these guys to go public. I think you'll see the mid-tier, the guys that are not getting. I mean, let's face it, Anthropic goes to the market and they say, this is the valuation, I want this much money. The check's there before the press conference is over. Right? So with the mid-tier, the lower tier guys, yeah, I think you'll see a flurry of IPO activity. Remember this about a flurry of IPO activity. Write this down, have it tattooed in reverse on your forehead. So when you look in the mirror, it's right there. When you see a big flurry of IPO activity, that sector's getting ready to drop. It may not be like a mega crash, but it's going to drop because it sucks all the capital out.
So if we see that early next year, just kind of playing this ahead, if we see a bunch of mid-tier, maybe AI IPOs next year, are we okay in thinking, hey, maybe AI might pull back a little bit here?
Oh, yeah, because all the institutional capitals come out. Right? Because you took all this money that might have ordinarily bought Google, and I'm just using it as an example, and they bought Anthropic.
Yeah. So this is, Tim, I'm glad that you're saying this, because this is a long-standing discussion that we've been having in happy hour in the afternoon, that actually releasing some of these hot IPO companies are actually going to drag investment money out of things like NVIDIA, Google, and Apple. And that might be the start of the rotation and the down move in the market that everyone has been waiting for.
Historically, it always has been. So, I mean, go back and look at cannabis in 2018, right? Legalized cannabis was just coming on. It was the hottest story in the world. There was this company out of Detroit. They started doing a big cannabis conference, and Benzinga wasn't alone in this, okay? Everybody all of a sudden had a cannabis conference. There were IPOs 2 or 3 a day. It was the dead stone cold top.
Okay. This is why we bring you on, Tim. This is why we bring you on.
So now this morning, other than the banking story, which it's a good story so far. I mean, if you're looking for all that, the bond losses are going to sink Wall Street, and there's terrible credit losses, and the world's going to end. Sorry, guys, not here. Possibly in Argentina, maybe in Brazil, but not here, not today, not yet. I've been a little surprised, pleasantly. This is the GFC, the Great Financial Crisis, was the first time in all of recorded history that I can think of where bankers learned the lesson. Right. In every other cycle where we had a big, bank problem, back in the 70s, 90s, within 5 years, banks were back to doing the same crappy stuff, looking for 100 basis points of extra return. I think there's the awareness of how close in 2008 they danced to wrecking the whole system. and it's way closer than anybody wants to admit. Um, and they've kind of really pulled back with a regulatory assist saying, hey, by the way, these loans over here, you need to let somebody else do those, giving birth to the private credit. Um, so, yeah, the banking story is great, but you're just not going to get this end of the world thing. And as far as the accumulated other comprehensive losses, anybody that really thinks that bond losses are going to reverse, um, are not going to reverse, and they're just going to make the industry collapse, really doesn't know how to read a bank balance sheet, or has never looked at what the maturity and term structure across the industry really is. So, because it's not really a threat. So that's all I got on banking.
Okay.
Okay. Not that I know anything about banking. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Haven't been doing that for what, half
30,
of a century?
Right. Oh, come on now. Half a century. My goodness.
I'm just saying, man.
Not quite that old yet.
I'm willing to bet that when you were in middle school, you were looking at banks, and some of your friends were like, "What are you doing?
Dude,
why is this even important?"
No, true story. When I was in middle school, there was a better chance that I was locked up in a cell down at the Annapolis City Police Station than studying banks. Okay.
Okay. Glad we got that one cleared up.
I mean, they saved a cell for my friends and I every on Friday night because they knew at least one of us was coming in. So anyway, all right, Ryan, let's drive the bus on in the time that we have left after I ran my mouth. By the way, guys, if you have any questions, just throw them into the chat there and we'll get them, because I want to make this as interactive as we can. But
perfect.
Let's do a little bit more driving on the on Benzinga Pro and some of the new stuff we put in there.
Okay, let's do it. I'm going to go ahead and load up a scanner here. We'll start just with this.
Okay, now the premise for this is, and half of you are going to argue with me, and I know you disagree with me. Don't even bother putting it in the chat. I know you think this could never happen because stocks only go up. We all know that. But the trade war with China is not going away. And whatever the outcome, however it ends, good, bad, indifferent, the intermediate stages of it are not good, right? And the public perception is not good, and it's going to have some impact on the bond market. You saw it Friday, you saw it again the other day. So we have to kind of keep an eye on the possibility that this all goes wrong, right? Having said that, we're also way due for a decent pullback. We've not had one of those pullbacks that leads to a run on sales of new Hanes underwear. Okay, haven't gotten one of those yet. So let's go in here, Ryan, and let's flip our good screens on top. Let's take the F score, that very powerful fundamental indicator that we've put in the system. And remember, the higher the score, the more financially sound and focus. We measure profitability, leverage, and efficiency, right? So the higher the score, the better the company, the lower, the worse. Let's cap it at 4.
So we're going to do 1 to 4.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Now, price to sales over 10. Price to sales over 10, outside of REITs where it doesn't really matter. Price to sales over 10, buying stocks with a PS over 10, generally speaking, with a low F score, it's a lot like being in a bar after 11 o'clock at night. I mean, it may be fun for a while, but on balance, nothing good's going to happen. Okay. So price to sales over 10. Now let's go to increasing short interest, Ryan.
Okay. We want to do short percent of float.
I think you've got one, rise in short interest.
I do not. Oh, short percent change. I beg your pardon.
Yeah. So go just plus 5%.
Okay. Minimum of 5.
Yeah. Now, what is on our list there?
Okay. First of all, narrowed down the 9,000 plus stock universe to 210 with this scan. If I go ahead and sort by market cap, so we get some of the bigger companies at the top here, Strategy is at the top. That to me is rather amusing. So, Mr. MSTR, your top stock here.
Well, and the thing is with Mr., you just immediately, that's a Bitcoin mining. That's a Bitcoin inventory company, right? So it's really, we're going to be judging it on price to sales or fundamentals, not necessarily, because as goes Bit goes, so goes Strategy, right? That's where, screening does not require just blind allegiance. You got to think a little bit.
Tim, now that I take a little closer look at this list, every one of these stocks is stocks that we look at regularly. Next, we have
Sure.
Synopsys here, then CoreWeave, Axon, the body camera company, Versic Analytics. Okay, maybe we don't look at that one. NBIS, Circle, Fig,
Sure.
Ionic, Iren, which we were just talking about. So
Right.
great list.
Okay, and now think about this before you come in here and blister me because all these are on here and there's stocks that you love. First, the stocks don't love you back. Secondly, all of these stocks have insane valuations. All of them are very AI and AI infrastructure dependent. If this market cracks, it's going to be because something cracked in the AI story, just like back in 2000, something cracked in the internet story. All right. So if something cracks in the internet story, the stocks that led the market up are going to lead the market down. All right. So just kind of, and CoreWeave is just a classic example of this. CoreWeave is an interesting company, right? I mean, they're doing AI infrastructure. It is a fantastic story. Um, they have no income to date. They have a market cap of 68 billion on sales of 3.5 billion. It's 20 times sales. Now, in theory, that sales number is going to continue to grow, but it's losing money. It's not projected to make money anytime soon. Um, this stock would be extremely vulnerable to a re-rating of the broader market, right? Because in a broader market, all of this stuff is going to re-rate lower. Now, look, we saw what looked like might have been a hint of a bear market in 2020, but the Fed came in, Congress came in and threw a ton of cash at it. That won't happen again. Most people hanging around these days under about 40 have never traded through a bear market. Now, I came at a time into the business when nobody'd seen a bull market in forever because we were just coming out of the 70s. So believe me when I tell you, the stuff that led the market up will lead the market down. These lists at least help you be aware of what is weak and vulnerable. Okay. So now just switch the the F score to the Z score and do under 2. And remember also, you guys that are trading it are looking at this from a very different time frame than an investor would be.
Okay. Again, sort of descending in order of market cap, the top couple of stocks on our list: Broadcom, Robinhood, Mr. Synopsys, Marvel, CoreWeave, Fortinet, and Axon and Rocket.
Okay.
Circle, Fig, Iron. A lot of overlap here.
Lot of overlap. And then remember that what the Z score is, a low Z score is telling you that these guys, the minute the financing and cash flow parades slow down, they're in trouble. Okay. Because they're not necessarily generating enough cash from the business as it sits. By the way, just take Robinhood out of the list. We don't have an industry selection filter in here yet. The Z scores don't work on financial companies. So just, kind of ignore it on the Robinhood. But when you look at the rest of them, it's the exact same thing. The financial liquidity is not great for these companies. Either the cash flow has to skyrocket or they're going to need to come back to the market via either a debt offering or an equity offering at some point in the future, or a private placement. And if you think about all your tech leaders, we see it all the time. They're always coming back for secondary offerings, particularly the newer, younger companies. And Exxon's on there just because it's tough to be an oil major right now. But as you go, and by the way, that applies to Rocket too. Rocket is a financial services company, so the Z score is not going to work real well on
Got it. Okay.
So look, we're just giving you lists of where this is possible. And if you don't think a bear market's never going to happen again, ignore me. That's fine. It's, the other one, Ryan, and here's one that's a little more tradable for the short term oriented. Go to a negative net profit margin.
All right. So do you want to clear these?
X all those out.
Clear them all out. Okay. So we're going to go for profit margin.
Yep. Net profit margin.
Yep. Net profit margin. And when you said a negative number, right? So
just make 0 the max.
0 the max. Got it.
Whoop, that didn't work, did it?
No, I've got nothing here.
I'll put negative 100 over in the others.
I was going to say this actually might be 0 to 0. That's exactly what it is. Okay.
Okay. All right. So now we've got negative net profit margin. That means, by the way, folks, they are not making money. Okay. So now let's go to trend. Let's put all the 3 trend filters up there.
Okay.
All right. Up there. Okay. So long-term and intermediate term are a yes, and short-term is a no. And this one's actually tradable now.
Okay.
These are unprofitable companies that have been in an uptrend and have now lost that uptrend, right? The intermediate and long term are intact, but for a short term, it's broken to the downside. Okay, so Ryan wants to know what happens to Bitcoin goes to 167,000 by the end of the year. Well, I mean, I don't know where Bitcoin's going. To be honest, you don't either. We all have hopes. We have dreams, we have thoughts, we have concerns. I imagine MSTR will go up.
Yeah.
Okay. But if somebody else that's bearish Bitcoin is right and it goes down, well, then MSTR is going to go down. It's a Bitcoin play, but I think you're paying like last time I looked at it. So, this is approximate math. You're paying like $1.50 for each Bitcoin for each dollar of Bitcoin. So, I mean, you do your own due diligence to do what you think is right, but I get it. You think Bitcoin's going up. So unprofitable companies where the trend has changed.
Okay. So the trend has changed then. I thought you said unprofitable companies that are in an uptrend that have not lost the uptrend.
Well, see, the short-term uptrend is
so down. It's starting to change then by having that. Got it.
Right. You've been in a long-term uptrend, but the short-term trend is now turned negative. Now, in order for the long-term trend to turn negative, the short-term trend has to turn negative first. If you short these, it's like any other trade. You would want to use a tight stop in case it regains the short-term uptrend. That can happen. But they're unprofitable companies, which, with the exception of Intel that attracted outside investment, the headlines surrounding these companies are probably not pretty good right now.
I think it's rather amusing that Peloton is on this list.
I'm surprised Peloton hasn't gone to 0 yet. I mean, it flirted with it, right? I mean, it was bad enough in the 80s and 90s when we all paid $200 for rowing machines and stationary bicycles and ellipticals and all that, and we put them in our home and we hung laundry on them to dry. Okay, so it was bad enough when you were spending a few $100.
A few hundred. I was going to say I thought some of those treadmills were a few thousand.
Well, the Peloton ones are. They're thousands and thousands of dollars to have some girl from.
I'm of the age where I remember Nordic Track infomercials, and those
they had all these and that.
Were all over the damn place, and I don't think I saw a single one of them get used in all of the houses that I went to.
Right,
and you were right; they were often used as clothes hangers.
And the stock went to 0. And Cam, by the way, I love a good rowing machine too, and I had one. And I would use it like once a month. I would have been better off paying the gym membership and making myself go to the gym, because it's just, you're going to sit there, and you're watching The Sopranos, and you've got, a double scotch with a splash of ginger and some, bowl of peanuts. Do you really think you're going to work out on the rowing machine while you're doing all that? Because I'm not. So Peloton, those things are thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And my kids bought one. My son, my daughter, and her husband bought one, and they might have each used it once, maybe twice, and then it just sat around the house.
My buddy got one during COVID, used it for a couple of months. I asked him if he's still using it. He said no, but my wife reminds me to use it all the time.
Yeah,
so I find that rather amusing as well.
I mean, a $10,000 conversation piece, it's a bit much. So I've always been surprised that Peloton did not go exactly to 0. So, Peloton's on there. I'm looking to see.
Lemonade is on here.
Lemonade is on there.
Wayfair.
Wayfair.
Every style, every home.
I know, but God, those commercials are awful.
I know. And I literally just quoted one and I was instantly regretted it. They are annoying.
I remember when they watched one of those commercials, and I said, "Who the hell buys shit from this company?" And the next day, the truck backs up, dumps off, and my wife bought a whole bunch of stuff from one.
That is
So
so good.
now I know the answer.
Uh,
So anyway, you're just look. This is all about probabilities, okay? And stories and dreams and hopium and hadium, all very nice things, right? And lovely to talk about, but using the tools in pro here, these stocks have a higher probability of going down than up, right? They're going to need a continued powerful updraft in the market, or like Intel, surprise outside commitments of capital, because they are losing money. The press around them is pretty negative. The fundamentals are deteriorating and the price is going down.
okay.
Now, let's just get into some, let's do the momentum and quality thing. Let's do,
Okay.
I'm
So I'm
sorry.
going to clear all these then, right? We're going
Yeah,
to start
yeah.
from scratch.
Clear everything. Let's get to the rankings.
Okay.
I want to do the growth and momentum ranking again. That was on my list to talk about this morning.
Perfect.
All right. Now, look, you with these, the way that they're designed, and I joke about it, but the two folks that had the most input, well, actually all of the input on how these rankings went, were Ryan and myself. Okay. So these are here to help you one click find stocks that meet a lot of criteria. When you do the growth and you do the momentum screen, what you have recreated is twin momentum. You've got companies that are growing sales, growing earnings, that are reinvesting the capital, because that's a big part of the actual formula that's used in the growth rankings. So they are reinvesting the capital also at a very high rate of return. All right. So this company is growing at every level. The fundamentals are great. And now we've also got momentum. So institutions are buying them. We've mostly recreated the the idea of twin momentum. We can perfect that by adding, Ryan, the F score.
Okay. So what values do we want to do here
Let's
for these?
do 7 to 9 for F score, 95.
All right. So we're looking for really financially stable companies by using the F score.
Yep.
And
95
then for
and 95.
well, we're really going upper echelon here with
Yeah.
minimum values of 95 for both growth and momentum. Tim,
Yep.
This is great. This gives us 9 stocks.
Yeah, 9 stocks. Look, if I'm gonna run a basketball team, right? I want my team to be entirely, and I think you can have 9 guys on a basketball team, 5 guys on the court at any one time. So 10 guys, I think, is your active roster. So we're missing a stock. 1 guy's hurt, but I'm going to put 5 guys on the floor that are 7'2", can jump like Michael Jordan, and shoot like Larry Bird. Okay, bang, here they are. They've got growth. They've got and again, and I cannot stress this enough. Sales are going up, profits are going up, and they're successfully reinvesting the profits. That's huge. Institutions are going, whoa, look at this. Give me more. Got to have more. And the thundering herd aspect is getting there too, because all these Wall Street guys, and this is just part of the system, they all talk. They all went to the same college. They have dinner and drinks together. If my buddy's buying this, I got to buy this. So you've got the momentum, you've got the growth. Now you've got the quality from the F score. Okay, that that the fundamentals are fantastic. So these are best of the best kind of stocks that are attracting the most attention. You can buy these, you can trade these. And in fact, I would treat them like William O'Neill. And look, you've got a minor on there. There's something really cool happening with the miners. And you need to understand, most of the miners aren't really just going up because gold and silver are going up. That's about that much of it. Gold mining's fixed costs have not changed, but the products that they're selling have skyrocketed in value. It doesn't cost that much more to dig some out of the dirt at this point in time, but the price has gone way up here. So profit margins are just exploding higher in these things. They're growing. So are these tools available as screeners? Yes, you can use them in Edge. you can access some of the tools, but to use them to this degree as a search and scan,
Yep.
that's Inside Pro.
Yep. And by the way, folks, when we do some of these things here, you can, of course, save all of these scans. So when Tim's coming up with a lot of these, we can actually just save them and then reuse them over and over. This is one of the things that makes the scanner in Benzinga Pro so great. I know I focus a lot on intraday relative volume scanning, but this is a really good display of all of the other things that it can do.
Now, one quick thing, and then I'm going to go because 13's got to come on.
Got it?
Take out the F score completely.
Got it?
Okay. Search on market cap, lowest to highest.
Got it?
Guys, you're looking for companies that have the capacity and the ability to be the long shot, the superstar stocks of the next 5 years. This is your shopping list. There's 2 shopping lists where you get 10 baggers. All right. There's this one, and there's high F score, low valuation. All right. We're only dealing with this one today. These are companies that have outstanding fundamental growth. Institutions are starting to buy them, so momentum is good. There's your shopping list for 10 baggers, maybe even some 100 baggers over a long period of time. By the way, if anybody ever predicts, and this is one of the things that kind of warned me off a hut, if anybody ever predicts a 100 bagger run.
I'm glad you were able to be there for that story. I thought you might find that amusing.
100 baggers are fortuitous accidents.
Yeah.
Okay. Predicting 100 baggers in advance, that doesn't happen that way. So anyway, that's just some cool stuff that you could do with all the new stuff in pros. I'm sorry for those of you that I upset by saying occasionally markets could go down and your favorite stocks might go down with them. Suck it up. It happens. So,
all right, we're gonna leave it right there, Tim.
There
really
you
good
go.
stuff.
Okay.
Look, I look forward to more education here on how we can actually use this tool to identify different stocks and different niches. This is absolutely perfect. This is the type of actionable stuff that we absolutely love. So, Tim, really good stuff. Nobody here is offended. I'm from the age group where I was told by teachers every day, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me." And that is apparently lost on this generation. But good stuff here today. Really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time.
No, I'll see you guys tonight at the 6 o'clock webinar.
Nice plug. Nice plug there. I don't think I have a graphic for that, but I will go ahead and drop that URL for anyone that's interested in that.
I do promise all of you that if I did not piss off at least half of you this week, I swear I'll try harder next week.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Perfect.
Have a great week.
Take care of yourself, Tim. Really good stuff there. That is the ever spicy Tim Melvin. His departure leaves room for 13. Let's bring 13 on. 13, I tell you what, you got big shoes to fill here today.
Well, that's not going to happen. I have small.
Okay. Well, glad we got that out of the way. Do you like trading stocks that are seed oil based?
Why are there stocks that are
because that's the theme that's on deck here today. Let's just dive right in. I figured we could start with the movers here. They're all somewhat related, so let's just go ahead and start talking about
well named too, by the way.
Oh, today's going to be fun, isn't it? 13.
Oh, we got multiple 100% runners.
I see 3 on the list to start with.
We had 4 not too long ago.
Okay, so we're real close here. Let's just go ahead and get started. First one here is Coot.
Yep.
COOT is your ticker. Charlie, Oscar, Tango. Shares of agriculture, cooking oil, and soybean-linked stocks are trading higher after President Trump said the U.S. is considering terminating business with China related to cooking oil. A lot of those stocks here are moving. That's generally what we're going to be covering here. First one here, as mentioned, COOT. This stock was just up a second ago, 306%. It's now up 290%. This stock yesterday was 64 cents. Today it printed 5 before backing off. We just lost the VWAP here. We do have the 65 EMA. Again, that's on the 5-minute chart. That's going to be 362. We'll see if the stock gets any support in this down move from that value. Quick look around the horn on this one. 2.25% of the float shorted here with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 1.73 million. Today, 13, it's traded 92.5 million. Oh my goodness. Float on this one, 8.62 million. Looking in here, I don't think I saw anything else specific. It looks like it's just moving on that Trump headline. What do you got here for ticker COOT?
Yeah, that Trump headline, considering terminating business with China as it relates to cooking oil, and soybean products. That's sending a lot of these names up, especially ones that are some of these names in Australia. So what's happening here with this one is that on the cash side, they have 2 quarters of cash. They're nearly break even, not exactly profitable, but what's not great is their balance sheet. Not the greatest looking balance sheet. They're in the red there. So this, I'm thinking we're going to potentially see some capital raising happening here. This could be one of them. There's another one that we'll get to later that I'm pretty sure has to do it, but we'll see. And that's what COOT might end up doing here too, because they could use the cash. As far as the chart goes, we just lost VWAP not that long ago, and we're trying to get some support from the 65 EMA. I'm waiting to see what happens with that EMA, that 65 EMA on the 5-minute, because if we lose that, then I think that we're going to end up coming down to this demand zone that we have here, the sideways price action that we got since following the impulse move up from the opening of the pre-market. Just a bunch of sideways price action from about this slightly under $3 to as high as about $3.40. That's the sideways consolidation I'm looking at there. That's going to end up being potentially a demand zone if the price comes down there, and that's going to be on the loss of the 65 EMA. So just an area to watch for. And that doesn't provide support. Then we have the 200 EMA and also the highs from the after hours that are going to likely provide some support as well if that demand zone doesn't hold up.
Okay. Really good stuff there. COOT. Next one on the list here is Omer. This is OMER. This is Omeros. Looks like this is actually moving recently as of some news. Yeah, it looks like we got some news about a half an hour ago on this one. Novo Nordisk and Omeros announced asset purchase and license agreement for Omeros's clinical stage MASP3 inhibitor. Let's see. Omeros is eligible to receive $340 million in upfront near-term milestone payments and up to a total of $2.1 billion if it meets some of those other marks. So definitely good news here on getting more money as long as this drug. I'm going to try Zoltanibert. I think that's pretty close. That's the name of the drug here. So anyway, that's the news that's rocketing the stock 200+% here. We're actually right in a 12 handle. Short interest on this one is 19.33%. And interestingly, it's a slight tick down from the prior read. Days to cover on this one, 12.38. So definitely a short squeeze candidate here. On OMER. 100-day volume, 1.1 million shares, 100-day average volume, 1.1 million shares. Today it's done 23 million. Float on this one is 65.5 million. What do you think on this one, OMER 13?
The news about acquiring assets or global rights assets from this company by NBO, that's aside from that, this company is in some pretty dire financial situations. This balance sheet that it has is awful. And it loses it lost $25 million dollars last quarter. So it kind of makes sense to me as to why NVO wouldn't just outright purchase this company, because it doesn't look like it's really being managed that well.
And 13, those losses are actually less than the quarters before.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So that is, with all that in mind, it kind of makes sense as to why they just didn't pick this company up outright, but just wanted the rights to what they believe is one of the more valuable assets. So this is the one where we do know it's going to be getting some cash as a result of the news, but how soon is that going to happen? Like, when is the money going to get into the bank? And that's the concern that I have, because if it's not going to happen tomorrow or the next day, or soon, this company is probably going to have to raise some capital. It just needs it. It has 1.9 million left in cash. It has like another quarter worth of cash that you can convert from short-term investments into cash. But this is just not a great looking financially sound company until you consider the news today. So I would still treat this with a little bit of caution, because I don't know if they're going to do that capital raise. They still could, because like I said, I don't know when that the money is going to be in the bank.
Okay. Really good breakdown there. OMER. I see nothing but green on this 5-minute chart. Every candle's green. Every volume stick is green.
Yeah, I didn't even go over the technicals on this, and you know what? I'm not sure that. Let's see here, that we could use that the 2-day price action. We'd have to look a little bit more because we are now.
Yeah, looking at the daily chart here, 13. This 12 to this 12 to 13 and a half area. Very, very clear resistance. Look where we popped right to. I mean, we basically traded right up to that area.
Yeah, so 12, let's see, right, we're kind of right up to this. If you look at a weekly chart, you can really see that there's a demand zone back from 2021 before this thing fell off a cliff that could provide some resistance. So if this starts to trade up into the 13 handle, not my handle, the price handle, this actually might run into some resistance. So that's something I'd be watching for. You can also draw a trend line off of some of this price action from 2020 to 2021, but let's just use this the supply area here to start with, and that's going to be at about, it looks like 1328, 1330 is about when that starts.
Okay, I am going to just draw that trend line here. We'll see what ends up happening. I also was just kind of eyeballing this, but I don't think this means anything. Let me get rid of that. Okay, really good stuff there. OMER. We'll see if this gives us an opportunity here today, but good word of warning on this one. Likely going to need some type of capital raise, and we don't know when.
And there is a 1360 high, as Jay was pointing out, that happened back in December of last year, and it ran into the very same area that I was just referring to about the demand. I'm sorry, the supply zone from 2021. So absolutely keep your eye on this 13 handle.
Okay, real good stuff. Next here we have SDOT. This is Sadat Group, and this is also moving on the cooking oil headline that we got. It's the same one, so I don't think I really need to read it again. We'll throw it on the screen here for you. This too was about $5.50, printed in the 17 handle. Again, backed off the VWAP, made an attempt, or moved through the VWAP, excuse me, made an attempt to recapture it, backed off there. We are at a support level here, but if this breaks, maybe start looking in a 9 handle there. We have the 200 EMA and the 5 down there at 965. Quick look around the horn on this one. Short interest 11.3%, and this is notable because it's almost a double from the prior read. So a substantial tick up there in short interest. Days to cover on this 1.52. Your 100-day average volume 131,000 shares. Today we've traded 11.2 million. Float on this one is under 1 million. So perhaps this one gets rolling here for some short-term trades. What do you think on this 13?
Another one to be careful with. They, I think COOT, I think that was the one that also it had some NASDAQ recompliance issues. I think SDOT is also having to go through that as well. And as a result of that, they did a reverse split a month ago today, 1 for 10. So that resulted in the float now being 882,000 shares, helping it, move a lot more freely than it would have otherwise. But this company is also break even, so they're not necessarily, they have a little bit of profit, but it's such a small amount that I'm calling it break even. They do have some cash, but they could certainly use more. So don't be surprised if this does end up raising capital, because they kind of are going through the steps. They were trying to regain NASDAQ compliance and the reverse split and everything. Their share structure is small enough to where they could raise capital again. So just, I'm not saying that they could do it today. It's possible, but just keep that in mind, because these are companies that can burn cash. And, like I said, this one's kind of break even.
Okay. Brian's asking, technical analysis, folks, what are the EMAs that you use on your charts for intraday purposes? I would encourage anyone that has suggestions for Brian to please put those in the chat. Brian, I'll start. I think 13 and I use the same ones. 13, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. The 9, 15, 65, and 200 EMAs are the 4 that you're going to see on all of these charts, regardless of what workspace that I'm on. Those are your EMA lines.
And I like to use SMAs for longer term charts.
Yeah. So, and Brian, so just to kind of clear this up here, when you see me on the movers workspace here, these are all EMAs. The same is true when I flip over to the main workspace that includes the scanner throughout the course of the day. I know that the lines are a different color there. Maybe I should go back and change them so that they all match. Maybe that'll make it a little bit easier, but the values are still the same. These are still literally the same EMAs. When I go to what I call the big chart, where I'm often looking at daily, weekly, or your monthly timeframes here, these are all of the SMAs that we talk about. So important to know that. I'll try and call attention to that. Good question, though. Anyone else that has a suggestion, go ahead and help Brian out. And yeah, 13, I think we have the same ones.
Yeah, we do. And just to wrap it up on SDOT here, this is trading into a gap fill right now. So if you look at July of 2020 of this year, we are in a gap. If you look at a daily chart, we just started to get into this supply zone back from June and May. So we can make our way through that. And the secondary one that's from earlier in July and June, the gap looks to fill at about 1550, 1560. So we could end up going up there as the open approaches. And if we continue to run, there's more resistance overhead at about 1725 if we end up getting up there. But first thing I want to see is that gap fill at 1550.
Okay. Real good stuff there. Let me clean up a couple of comments here real quick. Fatty Liver King says, I like that guy who swats down these overhyped stocks. Every pundit on the internet is screaming soybeans right now. Fatty Liver King, I absolutely love this. This is why we bring Tim Melvin on. He will often give us a what do we call it? Maybe a reality check. Maybe that's what we should call it. He'll often give us a reality check on some of these high flyers. Look, we trade momentum here a lot. Sometimes we get caught up in the hype too. Always try to bring somebody on that's going to bring us back down to earth. I love this comment quite a bit.
Even the ones we're talking about right now, these are shit, but they're moving. And they're tradable. So guess what? We're going to trade them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we're never going to look at them again.
Yeah, probably. Sometimes we do. We call them ex-girlfriends, which is also kind of funny. So, it's really good stuff. And the reason I'm highlighting this is because I want you all, we talk about so much stuff here on a regular basis. I want you folks to be familiar with what we're referencing and why. One more question that I wanted to get here. Kamal is asking, where do you find company needs money in Benzinga, like a capital raise? Okay, well, first of all, we do this every day. And 13, this is my fault, because a lot of the times when you run through the analysis of the financial reports for these companies, sometimes I do not click along with you on the tab. So I take full responsibility for that, but I will basically show you all of the screens that 13 uses to come up with that determination on whether or not a company is going to need a capital raise. Peek behind the curtain at some point in the future. I don't have a roadmap or a date for you. We are going to try to create a graphic that incorporates a lot of these data points and makes it easy for you to kind of figure out at a glance, but that's not available right now. What you would have to do is within your details tool, which is going to be your wealth of information, with the sub tabs that are on here, it starts with overview, news calendar chart. One of them is financials. And if you click on financials, you'll be shown a financial kind of readout here for that particular company. In this case, we're on the balance sheet. It's going to have the balance sheet, the income statement, and the statement of cash flows here. And basically what 13 is doing, 13, correct me if I'm wrong here or if I miss a step, he's starting with the balance sheet, looking at assets for cash and cash equivalents to determine what kind of cash the company has on hand. Maybe there will be some other investments that you're able to liquidate into cash. 13 might take a look at that and incorporate that depending. But for the most part, you're looking at the cash here. And then he's looking at the income statement and saying what happened.
And debt. I'm looking at debt.
Excuse me. Thank you. So he's also looking at debt also here from the balance sheet.
Yeah.
So looking at assets versus liabilities, then looking at the income statement to see whether or not the company makes money, and even the statement of cash flows to determine how the cash flow is going there. So we use the financials tab in Pro for the individual name. And 13, you just kind of look through it. Is there anything you wanted to add to this?
Usually, when it comes to because I'm kind of taking a little bit of inference because you're looking at what their past quarters of income have been like, and you're kind of getting a sense of what direction's that going. You also need to look at the news because some of that data is a month or two old because of the last time they had their earnings report. So you got to look and also see if they've done any kind of capital raise or had some kind of private placement. You got to see what the news is as well. So it's their balance sheet, the income statement. You can also look at their cash flow, and then absolutely look at the news and make sure that there's nothing they haven't already done. So in the sense of what was it, OMER?
Yeah.
If you didn't look at that, the fact that it had that news today, you'd look at their balance sheet and their income statement and be like, wow, this company is just needing to raise some capital here. But then you understand that NVO is going to be paying them millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. Not sure when yet, but they are going to. So that makes the potential for a massive capital raise less likely. But because we don't know how long it's going to take for NVO to actually get money to them, that's another reason why they could still raise some cash, because the operation must go on.
Okay. Good stuff. Kamal, let me know if that answers your question. Again, we are looking to make some improvements to make this a little bit faster, but if you know what you're doing, all of that information is available to you today here in Pro. All right, next on the list is going to be ticker PFAI. This is Pinnacle Foods. This also moving on the exact same oil headline that we've been covering with some of the other these other stocks here. This stock was about $1.94, almost $2 yesterday. Looks like it peaked at about $5.50. Same deal here though. We lost the VWAP. In this case, it actually recaptured the VWAP. Lost it again, and since has lost the 65 EMA. I've got the current value here, 362. Next support level, I mean, maybe here at 345-ish, but also that 200 EMA down there at 307. Quick look around the horn on this one, 1.52% of the float shorted there with 4.45 days to cover. Still kind of low on the short interest. I don't really think this is a squeeze candidate here today. The 100-day average volume for this stock is 130,000 shares. Today, it's done 38 plus million. I don't think there's going to have any trouble covering up those shorts if they do need to cover. Float here, 3.53 million. 13, what do you think here on ticker PFAI?
So unlike some of the other names that were just, I think, in producing the oil, the cooking oil themselves, this is actually on the growing side. This has to do more with hydroponic growing systems. Kind of like how Agrify was, I think. So that's my understanding of what this company actually does. It's like smart farming systems, and they're not, they're another break-even company, another company that does look like they need cash. I don't think I've seen any news about them receiving more capital. So not 100% sure about that. This is one of the last ones I looked at, but as far as the chart goes here today, it hasn't been trading too well. We did get a nice impulse move all the way up to 571 out of the pre-market gate, but we haven't been able to test that level quite yet. We've, in effect, created a bit of a trend line here using that 571 high going through the peak we had at about 7 o'clock this morning. And if we manage to recapture the 65 EMA, we'll look at VWAP next, and that could give us a breakout trade. But for now, it's still looking like this thing is continuing to bleed. But we are approaching this support area from the after hours yesterday, where we had that first impulse high. It was also the same high we got later on in the after hours before it ended for the day. So it's about 350 that we could see some support. And we're almost there. We're just several cents shy. So I would think we would need to really get some support there, because if we don't, then we're coming down to likely $3, maybe even lower.
Yeah. Okay. Really good stuff there. PFA. How much time do we have? 7 minutes till we open here. Next one here is going to be True. This is True Cars. This
new.
Yeah, let's see what's going on here. Okay, this is an acquisition. TrueCar to be acquired for $227 million in cash, or $255 per share. Current price is $253. No trade here at 13. I'm going to move on.
Going private.
Yep, and going private there. Okay, next here is going to be Seed. This, again, same theme here with the seed oil, cooking oil, et cetera, et cetera. This stock about $1.44 yesterday. Looks like $3 with some pretty significant resistance in the after hours and in the pre-market here today. This actually much closer to VWAP than some of these others. And the other good news here is that this is doing a really good job kind of staying above the pre-market support area that we've carved out. The fact that it's been able to stay above that for so long means that this 200 EMA is now creeping up. This is above 2. I've got it here at 207. That might be a support level. In fact, that lines up pretty well with the actual dead low from the pre-market, which also looks to be 207. Quick look around the horn on this one, 0.25% of the float shorted. Negligible short interest here, nothing on days to cover. We take a look at the average volume here. Average 100-day volume, 401,000 shares per day. Today it's done 24 million. Float on this is 6.3 million. Looking through the news here, just trying to see if there's, yeah, there is. So in addition to the theme that we had already discussed here, Origin Agritech re-enters Northeast China with Shangchun Showcase. I butchered that, and I'm sorry to everybody involved. Unveils newly approved corn hybrids and signs a partnership. Highlights a gene tech progress and engages 200 plus dealers. So in addition to the theme, this also seems to have its own news going on. 13, what do you think of SEED here? Ticker SEED.
This one I'm not really sure about. The news sounds great, but of course there's not money in the bank. They're just making some business deals here. This chart kind of looks like it could be a little head and shoulders pattern happening here, but it's very similar to SDOT and PFAIs. Quite similar, as a matter of fact. I think all these, they're all kind of trading similarly. They've all kind of lost their VWAP, and they're trying to reclaim the 65 EMA. I really don't know about this one. I think this the breakdown spot for this could be at about 205, 210 if we cannot recapture VWAP. I'm just not really sure about this one compared to the other ones. It kind of looks like it has the worst looking chart for the moment. You can still draw a trend line if you want. Maybe we do recapture VWAP and this goes on a move, but not really liking the way this chart looks compared to the other movers.
Okay. Good stuff there. Let's see. We're running out of time here, but I think I've got two more on here that I wanted to cover. Very here. Ryan Summerall's already made several jokes regarding this ticker. We're no strangers to making jokes about tickers here, so we'll continue to do that. Veritone shares are trading higher after the company announced a new VDR contract wins, with leading hyperscalers and updated its Q3 financial outlook. The stock popped up to 9, has really kind of been trading sideways since then. This is one of my favorite pre-market setups because one of the things that we'll do is we'll just kind of outline the sideways area here. And then if it breaks out or below this area, better still, if it retests it, that can actually give us a possible entry plan for one of these stocks. Quick look around the horn on this one. It's 9.06% of the float shorted here on 1 day to cover. That 1 day to cover comes on an average volume of 5.2 million. Today it's traded 2.6 million. Float on this one a little bit a little bit of a thicker one here. Thick with 2 C's only though. 61 million shares in the float here on Very. 13, what do you think of this one?
I would have to read more into what this contract is with the hyperscalers. The VDR contract is Veritone Data Refinery, and that sounds interesting. We just had a whole discussion about yesterday in Happy Hour about who's training these AI models and who's verifying the data. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of wondering if something like this is what we were discussing. Don't take what my thought here as gospel. I think this might be something else, but it sounds like this could have something to do with data quality verification to that in that sense, but I don't know. Having not been able to look at that prior and getting an idea of what's going on here, let's just go to the chart. We did get this big impulse move in the after hours, and we've really done a whole lot of nothing since, just gone sideways. And we're really leaning on the 65 EMA. Actually, we are losing the 65 EMA. And if we do trade beneath 780, well, I think that we're probably in for a bit of a fall, potentially down to 7 even.
And 7 even is your 200 EMA.
Yeah.
Okay, really good. DFLI is another one that the chat seems to be mentioning here today. This is Dragonfly Energy Holdings. This stock also having a wild move here in the pre-market. Dragonfly Energy says the United States Patent and Trademark Office issues notice of allowance for the company's intelligence battery communication technology. Okay, so we're getting a little bit in the battery theme there as well. This was indeed fresh news as of today. And I was going to say, yeah, on Monday, didn't they announce their third quarter? Yeah, preliminary results on Monday. So that's the other thing that we got here on DFLI earlier this week. This stock did look like it stopped at just shy of 240 up there. Short interest on this name, 15.38% of the float shorted. That actually is a significant step up from the prior read. 1 day to cover that comes on an average 100-day volume of 45 million shares. Today we've done 30 prior to the market open. 83 million shares here in the float or thereabouts. 13, what do you think here on DFLI, Dragonfly Energy Holdings?
Well, it looks like they just rose capital. They had a 28.75 million underwritten offering that they just closed on the 8th. So that should really help them with their cash position, because when I was looking at it, they did lose 7 million last quarter, and we're open, and they have 2.7 in the bank. So yeah, they would have to raise capital, but it looks like they already took care of that. Sorry, I don't have more time to go over this one. We are moving right now, folks. VERI really taking off, trying to stay above that 65 EMA. Let's look around here and see what else is moving. Seed going lower, PFAI and SDOT also kind of sinking, but finding some support. OMER, this looks like the momentum is rolling over here. Might get a test of the VWAP. Coot, kind of sideways, just scooting along. And
Coot is scooting? You got to be kidding me. That's
just scooting. Yep, Coot scooting. All right, so CAN. This is, I don't know why I have this one on here. I guess I must have been cycling through some other names, but COOT, this is getting some support from the 65 EMA, but it still hasn't broken out of this consolidation that it's been in for the past half hour. Looks like SDOT and just SDOT actually trying to get back above the 65 EMA. As a matter of fact,
actually SDOT's going to halt here if it holds.
Yep, we might go and do a halt here.
1206 halted here on SDOT. I still see Prince halted. All right, so there it is. And look, the signals tool right on with that timing. Okay, so that's one halt here today on SDOT.
Matt sniffed it out. I was starting to get that tune in there with the Coot scooting.
yeah. It's funny too. One of my Tarkov teammates says the same thing. It's rather amusing. So okay. SDOT. Now, I wonder if some of these other seed plays are going to end up getting more volume now with SDOT halted. I'm just speculating.
It's not looking great at the moment. Nope. Veritone going lower here. I think the support that we're going to see is coming up here might be about 740 before it hits that $7 spot at the 200 EMA. Seed going right for its 200 EMA. Actually, this may just end up hitting it. That's going to be at what is this, 207? Yeah. And OMER, this one got a little bit of selling out of the gate, but it's trying to push back up above 12. Let's see here. I need to put that dragonfly on the chart here. This one looks like it's about to take off.
SOGP, that was a former huge runner for us. That's also halted here. This wasn't on the list at all.
SOGP, the sound group.
Yep.
Oh, this one. Okay. All right. Well, we're still getting some nice movement out of DFLI right now. We may end up breaking the pre-market high of 237 here. If we can continue with this volume.
That was DFLI. Okay, let me put this on the screen here. 1 sec. 13, I'll be right back. 1 second.
Sounds good. So we got DFLI on there. What's the broader market doing? So we did come up here to the high 660s again, but kind of having a tough time going much higher. Let's see what else is moving here. SDOT still suspended. PFAI trying to turn around. There's a seller in the way at about 350. So even if we turn around with this one, going to need to see some better volume to get to that seller at 350 for PFAI. Seed still coming down to that 207 area. That's where that, well, it looks like about 208 now, but that's where the 200 EMA is. Certainly looks like it could end up testing that, although we are getting a little bit of a lift back up. We'll see what ends up happening there with that one. Baritone, that one ended up going down. DFLI, we're still waiting to see what this is going to end up doing, if this is going to get above that pre-market high of 237. Where we look, HOND is in beast mode right now. Yeah, it was. It was having a really good day yesterday. Got to 33 and change this morning. Now, with this one, keep in mind that they are going to have their extraordinary meeting on the 20th to vote to merge the company. But prior to that is going to be a redemption period. It's 2 days, up to 2 days before the 20th. So the 18th and 19th, where you might start to see some selling pressure because some of those investors that are looking to redeem them shares could do some of that. So 18th and 19th could see some selling pressure as the result of that. But after they merge, any shareholder that still has the Class A ordinary shares, those get converted on a 1-for-1 basis to commons. So, and then I'm not sure about the lockup period yet. I haven't read too much into the lockup period, but that's what's happening with the redemptions.
I'm back, by the way. Cypher mining, this pulled back out of the open. We kind of talked about that one. I am seeing some call flow into that down move there on Cypher. PFAI, this is one of our movers. This might be turning around, although we think we really wanted that to get down to the 200 EMA before we did that. SDOT still halted here. Let me see if I can figure out a time. Looks like STI from yesterday is halted.
Voyager, remember you were talking about that one yesterday?
Yeah, that was another new long pick there on Voyager.
Yeah, this is like one of the, it's a space stock that got really hammered. It really relies heavily on the success of Starship, which just had a successful Flight 11 test. So as we continue to move on with that and continue with more successful tests, I'm still thinking that Voyager is going to do well too. It's not really trading the greatest. It's very, very spready. So be quite careful. I mean, look at this. We got a 37.88 bid and a 38.17 ask. So it's a little bit of a range there on that. Be careful if you're going to try and trade this.
I was definitely too early to that name. SDOT is open, folks.
All right.
Looks like it popped higher and then reversed and went lower.
Yep. Now, we don't have a trend line on that one. So I was just kind of wondering if we ended up hitting that trend line at all. It looks like we didn't. Came close, but we would have had to get up to about 1360 in order to hit the trend line.
Mark is saying, how are we not covering MS? You must not have been here early. We did cover MS. They, of course, reported earnings here earlier today. They are getting a little bit of a move past or a move higher here out of the open. Morgan Stanley up 7%. That's actually a pretty good move here. Also, there was a great comment here. As Tim was talking earlier about IPOs, the Morgan Stanley CFO said on the conference call, quote, IPO pipeline shows a lot of activity from financial sponsors, end quote. As I was kind of alluding to, I suspect IPOs are going to be big, at least in the first half of 2026. And I think that would make MS decent swing candidate. Same with Goldman Sachs. How is Goldman Sachs doing this morning?
Izzy, I vaguely remember you saying something about this. I can't remember everything you said, but if you were saying that Archer was going to acquire Lilium, and I was unsure about that, well done, because that's exactly what the news is today, that they are picking up Lilium.
Now, that's LILM, right? We've talked about that stock before.
Yeah, but that's they went through some real financial trouble, and they had to stop everything. But now it looks like they're picking up their portfolio. I mean, this is I think a pretty big step, because I thought Lilium had a really good product. So great stuff there, Izzy, and that took Archer up over 14.
Archer plus 8.3% here today, and right past that $14 level that we had identified.
Coot looking like it's trying to scoot back up towards 5.
This is going to be an all-day affair.
It certainly is. So get ready. Just dropped 6% in the EIX. Yeah, it's really looking like it's time. It really is.
Let's see.
What are you looking for?
The SLNH. You're looking for I had a wrong ticker here. SLNH. This is a ticker Tuna had mentioned with no context here. I did. There it is on the scanner. Here we go. What's going on? This is moving towards the high end of that pre-market range. Maybe a 4 test here.
Faloona. Oh, okay. And yeah, Zach, I think because it went OTC and the insolvency kind of made it really unattractive. It was like 3 cents now. Excuse me. But like I said, they really did have an interesting product. The ducted fans on the wings and on the aircraft. That looked cool. I thought that was an interesting aircraft concept, and I hope it ends up working out for Archer.
NUAI, Wiss, your NUAI. This has been a really good one here. This is now 4s. This actually there we go, right through that pre-market high.
What's PFAI doing? Is that turning around? It looks like it's trying to recapture VWAP. SDOT also trying to turn around here. OMER hasn't really stopped the downside yet. Losing the VWAP right now. Not something you want to see if you're looking to go long on this. But SDOT certainly looks like that's trying to get up to the trend line here.
Here, let me redraw this trend line on here. That was a good one.
Yeah.
And I actually have it lined up pretty nicely with the VWAP at the moment as well. EVAX, that's resumed. STI has also resumed. EVAX 12 prints on that resumption and move higher. ELBM, this is also resumed.
I'm on the chart. There we go.
This
EVAX
coming right back in, this ELBM. Kind of a nasty head fake there on SLNH, at least so far, although I don't think that's done yet. NUAI 420s now.
EVAX is coming up to some consolidation from last year, and it's pretty much all year consolidation. Kind of starts down here in the mid to high 11s, like about 1150, and the consolidation goes until about 2230. So pretty big area of consolidation, all from 2024 in EVAX.
Here's Very maybe making a move towards 9. That's where they got stopped in the after hours yesterday. You guys are mentioning Oklo. What's that doing here this morning? Got to imagine that that's higher.
SDOT putting in a series of upper shadows. That's not looking great.
Oklo going for that 200, I think.
Because of course it is. Yeah, Very 855 now. That's a high. Getting a little bit of a pullback here. So I think that it doesn't quite put us over the. No, we're above all the pre-market levels. We're just trying to deal with the after hours highs now. The after hours high from yesterday was 893.
Yeah, the very opening of the pre-market here, I have that high print at 855, but we're basically right there on Very.
And what was that one that was halted earlier?
Which one?
The mover was it? What was it was a mover from this morning that was halted earlier. It's not halted anymore.
I've got the list of them. SDOT.
Yeah. Okay, so that one. Yes, that was one.
Yeah,
that one's still having a hard time trying to get back above the $13 level and hold above it. Rejected once already, but still holding above some of these other EMAs and VWAP. So we'll see if it can recover and try again. But I'm not liking the upper shadows it's starting to put in. So we get one more candle, kind of like these, this one, the one before it, could see some further downside.
Tesla, just noticing some, oops, that was NVIDIA. Just noticing some call flow actually on NVIDIA too. NVIDIA moved to the downside. So is Tesla. So these actually kind of going, I guess they're still green because they were higher here in the pre-market, but moving against the market. Market was moving to the highs there. Tech now moving to the lows. Rocket at the highs. That's ticker RKT. Costco at the highs. Not bad. EVAX halted to the downside. So that was a pop up to 12 and then a rejection.
Yeah.
By the way, SLNH, this is one that Tuna was looking at. Tuna, I'd love to know what the trade plan is here. This is back to VWAP, SLNH.
Looks like 380. There's a resistance area from, I have it still drawn from the last time. You can see that it was providing some resistance in the pre-market here around 6 to 6:30 this morning. It did pop over it multiple times, but every time it did, it just came right back underneath and consolidated under the 375 area. I do have more resistance levels at the upside if we manage to break through that, though, starting at 415, 430.
Sorry, which ticker is this? I'll put it up.
The one that you're on.
Oh, SLNH. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's no problem.
I'm trying to read comments and do all the stuff at the same time, and I'm failing at it.
It's all right. You're fine, dude. But I've got levels, going all the way up to 750 here. So those are the next ones that I see. It's going to be just above $4, 415 to 430. Next area of potential consolidation if this breaks over that 375 area.
Yeah, so we're basically looking for a trend line break here. So far, it's holding VWAP. That pre-market high of 396. I think a 4 test probably comes if you end up breaking this trend line, but that's kind of what we're looking for.
S-Dot potentially trying to break the trend line here. We just got some really good volume a moment ago, and this could, it's still very spready, so be careful, but it looks like it's trying to get above this trend line here. It's just got some of this consolidation from the pre-market that's still trying to deal with. But it just had some pretty good volume a moment ago. 10,000 gold next 3 years. If this environment continues, sure. I'm still thinking it's a possibility we see 5 before the year is out.
Here's OMER. This did lose its VWAP, but looks like maybe it's trying to hold the 15 EMA on the 5. That's OMER. I'm just going to run through some of the other ones here. COOT looks like this is trying to hold its VWAP right now. And actually, I have a trend line that I can kind of eyeball off the off this chart as well. See if we can get above that. We're waiting for a couple of trend line breaks, it looks like here.
Yeah. And if we do break this, and it looks like we're running into the 5 handle. There are some sellers in the way here for COT, so that we do need that volume component. 430 has some pretty good amount of size. 435, it looks like every 5 cents beyond 430 has some sellers in the way, with a large amount of sellers at 450.
Okay.
So going to need to see that volume really kick in. All right.
What's CELH doing? No, this has been a big winner for it. God, this is a 60 handle. What a call from Crow that was, all the way back in like a, what, 20, high 20, 30, low 30 handle. Just a great call on that one.
Yeah, COT. Still waiting for a little bit more volume in this one, but if we get something like we did about 10 minutes ago, could see that 5 print.
Okay, so we're waiting for the trend line break on that one. SNL. How many times am I going to screw this ticker up? SLNH. This is Solana. No. Faloona Holdings here. Looks like we might be, again, still waiting for that trend line break. So that's what, 375? Okay.
And I'm going to mention that SOGP is still moving up. Rain Reyes is mentioning NBTS. So Tuna says RKDA is setting up.
APLM, this is halted to the upside at 2860. RKDA, is that the ticker you just gave me?
RKDA, yeah.
RKDA. What's the setup on it?
Well, it looks like we just recaptured that 200 EMA after putting in some. Looks like a little bit of a bottoming pattern here with a couple of wicks there. Recaptured the VWAP, moving towards the 65 EMA. Still lots of consolidation to move through, but if we can get some really good volume, here to get through pretty much the entire pre-market and after hours, it seems like as we get into the 6 handle, it really starts to lessen up. So let's see if we can even get up into 6 first.
Okay.
DFLI, not great looking chart right now, coming down to the 65 EMA. We'll see if it can get some support down at this 195 and 65 EMA level, both a support level and both support levels actually. So might see some of that support kick in here. S dot halted to the downside, so that's not looking good.
No, in fact, that didn't even get to test that trend line either.
No, got it, kind of reversed right at 13. Right at that level I was talking about earlier.
Yep.
So hopefully if it comes down here and maybe even hits the 200 EMA, we can see some support kick in there if it opens and it goes that low.
CIFR, we took a look at that earlier. Looks like we have some call flow into the down move here on CIFR. How's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin actually taking another leg lower here. Same with Ethereum. Very
is looking very good right now. Almost at that after hours high from yesterday of 893. We're approaching that level. We're at 872 right now. So just about 21 cents away, and that could happen quite fast here.
Let's see what happens when we get to 9 on Very.
Mm-hmm.
VIX indeed is climbing from its pre-market level, still shy of 20 right now. VIX at 1975. NASDAQ looks to be the weakest of the indices.
Who needs rare earth when you got cooking oil? It's the next hot thing. Not a lot of, we had multiple 100% runners, but a whole lot of good that did so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, as far as like setups here, that isn't a chase. It doesn't feel great.
PFAI is, sorry to interrupt, but PFAI is moving through the 65 EMA for the first time in the regular session. And it's starting to get rejected. This is what we're looking to see if this is going to get the volume it's going to need to take it up to the trend line. So far, none of these cooking oils have really worked out with their trend lines yet. I think one of the earliest indicators was how seed was looking. So far, that has not really done well. Actually, it's kind of done everything I expected it to. This may end up.
This hasn't done anything good. It's just moved the wrong direction.
Well, it's moving the exact direction I would imagine a pattern like this would. So we could still see some under 2 prints before it tries to bounce, and even if it does, I'm not sure that it's going to be able to recapture that 200 EMA once we get them down move through it. We're kind of trading right at it right now, but I still think that it could go lower to just slightly under 2 before it tries to bounce back up towards it. And now I'm looking at EVAX. That's trying to make a move up through VWAP.
Nasty pull on PFAI. Here's seed.
Oh yeah, rejected the 65, and seed down. Still potentially losing that 200 EMA. DFLI trying to turn around here after getting near that 65 EMA.
I am seeing some Omer calls getting bought right where it's at right now. This did pull off the high. That's OMER.
Yeah, you're right. It's just not cooking, and I think that's a really good idea. Just to trade these things, be out with cash when you're done, because there's gonna be some things to buy pretty soon. I do think there's more weakness coming. We want to buy into some of that weakness, but quality companies, not some of these names that we're trading today.
Marcus mentioning AQMS. This was a mover from yesterday. Aqua Metals raises $13 million from lending institution to accelerate the commercialized and strategic growth here. So this is an offering of 1.13 million shares and warrants at a combined price of $11.34. Aqua Metals down 36.5% on the back of that.
And we're probably going to see lots more. We
talked about that, frankly.
just had Bank of America and Morgan Stanley report way better than expected numbers because of all this lending and merger activities that's been going on. So
that's right.
Going to certainly see more of that since it's doing well for them. But the party will end someday. Looks like DFLI really trying to move back up towards the VWAP right now. Veritone, I think that actually hit the same figure. We're at 890 is the high, and 893 was the after hours high. So really close there. If we do get a backing off, we might form a cup with handle pattern.
But I appreciate this, producer highlighting another comment here from Bank of America. I'll put this on the screen. Bank of America CFO says it feels like a good environment for M&A. Constructive environment for sales and trading remain. Credit portfolios performing very well right now. This is multiple banks that kind of giving you the hint that M&A IPO is going to be hot, especially going into next year.
Yep. Here we go with DFLI. That just had a nice move up right up to the VWAP. If we can continue with this this volume expansion that it's starting to get here, we're going to see some pretty good moves happen. Hey, good morning, Mike.
There he is.
And MP, I'll close the bubble. Yeah, it's I mean, you know, with the valuation, it certainly seems like it could be. I know that a lot of people have a lot of faith in Oklo, and certainly with the nuclear thing, I do too. But valuations still do matter.
Bharat, you had asked about ARM earlier, ARM options. I'm seeing that ARM CEO Renee Haas is actually going to be on Mad Money tonight. Maybe there's some news from that. I hadn't noticed anything here on the unusual options for ARM. Looks like we had two unusual call prints, 175, and those are for next week. So these are short term. Yeah, it's for next Friday. So looks like there's very little on the unusual options here, but ARM looks like some upside bets through next week as the time horizon.
Oh. Well, hopefully she's doing all right, producer. How high can we expect NVTS to go? Well, you take a look at it. I'll tell you what I think.
SDOT may be forming a double bottom intraday here at 1067. That one still couldn't get above the trend line. This to me would be a stop spot here. I would not want to hold past a drop on this if that spot gets sawed through. AMD straight up here 231, and also seeing some accompanying call flow for AMD.
Yeah, you know, with NVTS, the fact that it's got you know, really high short interest is helping move this thing along, and it's just killing shorts every time they try to get in front of it, and that's going to be their mistake. But at some point, this party will be over, and it looks like as soon as we start to get into some real thick areas of supply, investors are going to want to get out. That's when we might start to see this thing slow down. I don't think that could happen until maybe the 17 handle. So we'll see if that's what ends up happening. We could start to see that, you know, as we approach 16, but we really get into a lot of that overhead supply as we approach 17. So maybe around there. You think that it could be 30 to 45 pop on an NVIDIA run? Well, you know, I don't think that's too bold because you're bold, sure, but I think that because of you know, we're still kind of in this whole AI bubble, that's certainly a possibility. I'm not sure that that's what will happen, but I don't want to say that it can't happen because I'd be ignoring what's been going on with the market if I said that.
STI, this is open out of its halt near its pre-market high. Really struggling to break through that so far. PFAI maybe curling here. Very still stopped just shy of 9. We're still waiting to see what happens at 9 there.
SDOT almost at its 200 EMA.
OMER now. This is bouncing in above its VWAP, OMER.
Oh, yeah.
And SDOT, what did you say on that one?
That's got almost down to its 200 EMA.
Yep. 982 is the value that I have for that.
Getting hammered. RKDA, since we were looking at that one earlier too, that's still climbing, testing its 65 EMA. SLNH, that's still hanging out above its VWAP, and it's kind of hanging out in as well in the sideways area between 360 and 375. This is another sideways area from previous price action from days past. So if we can continue to climb through this, that next area that I mentioned, which is going to be 415 to 430, that's going to be the next area where we could see the similar sideways price action that we're seeing here. EVAX, that's still trying to climb back up towards 12. We did get a high of 12.15 before we had that halt down knife. So still trying to recapture all of that.
SLNH pulled again. I tell you what, these upper wicks don't make it feel great at all on SLNH.
Seed, interestingly, did get down to its 200 EMA, and it's trying to turn around right now. There is a seller in the way at 225, so could see a little bit of suppression there, but got to see that expansion of volume to get through all these sellers here, which I think with seed, there's certainly a good number of them. Maybe we get the same kind of price action with some of these other cooking names, where they just all go to their 200 EMAs and try to reverse. So getting some more, speaking of reversal, still getting some more upside here in DFLI following the test of the 65 EMA. It is now trading above VWAP slowly, but it's still above that that moving or that indicator.
OMER giving up its VWAP again. Don't know if I trust that one. Really want to see more volume expand in that.
Volume is going to be the key here with a lot of these cooking oil names right now, because if they're not going to get that, then I think they're going to fall. So let's see here. All the critical mineral names getting hit. Yeah, it seems like they were overdue for that.
More rocket calls getting bought here. These were the 20s, and those were the 20s for November. It'd be great to see rocket above 20 by November.
Very is now above, well, it was above the pre-market high we talked about, the 893. It did hit a high of 906, and it is using that 893 level now as support. So we'll see if it kicks in there. EVAX, this thing it has no volume right now. This thing is just kind of stuck. Our RKDA break through the 65 EMA, getting some volume, it looks like. Resistance coming up at about 6.
612 is the VWAP that I have.
There you go. There we go.
OMER, this looks like it's still flirting with VWAP and that 9 EMA.
Smoked in a seed. Yeah, that really is having a nice turnaround from the 200 EMA. Got to get to this 65 EMA next. I have that at 232, and then VWAP right above it. So there are some resistance levels to the upside, but we still have a trend we need to break. It looks like DFLI. If we can just get a little bit more volume, this is looking like we could push through the pre-market high of 237.
This too is also forming a trend line 13. DFLI.
Yeah.
See if we have enough to get above that. Jay here mentioning that all the critical minerals are finally getting hit. Lion says he's buying the dips on them. I think you said TMQ was one that you liked.
Well, TMQ is that's one of the big ones in Alaska alongside NAK that gets mentioned a lot with the Trump Road and everything that's happening in Alaska. So
yeah, Lion here saying they have a huge copper project and they're going to get involved in rare earths as well. OMER still struggling with its VWAP.
And I don't know as much about TMQ as I do about NAK. So what kind of operations do they have there? Do they have anything going? Like, are they actually pulling ore out of the earth right now? That's going to be important. It's an important distinction between TMQ and NAK if that's the case.
It looks like they are based on the description here. Okay. It looks like their project there is for copper, zinc, gold, and silver, and from a volcanic massive sulfide belt. So I would imagine if they know that they are pulling that up. I guess we could always go to the company website and see where they're at.
Okay.
On that, but to just from a cursory glance here, 13, it does look like they are actually pulling stuff out of the earth.
You're kidding, right, producer? Is that serious?
What did he say? He
said, did anyone hear about Tesla finding a buyer for hundreds of Cybertrucks? The buyer is SpaceX and XAI. So, pull up the graphic about companies handing money to each other.
I was going to say, are we going to have another debate there about the circular stuff?
This is the market we're in, folks. Have fun.
We're definitely having fun. That goes without saying here. OMER, I think that's going to have to firm up and then look good.
Yeah, it's kind of sideways for a moment, but weak.
Does anyone have a decent setup here now? I don't think I see.
DFLI did have a pretty good setup. I think we're getting through this trend line now. Big seller in the way at 230, but this might get going here if we can just get that volume to expand. The momentum is certainly swinging to the upside. Just got to get through some of these resistance areas at 230, 237. Man, the big one is at 230. There's a lot of sellers right there. If we get through that, we might see this just quickly pop. It could quickly drop, but that seller in the way there, if we get through him, I think we're going to see a pretty good move.
Would you be selling into that pop there?
I think I would.
And here's the trend line that's coming.
Yep. I think I would be starting to take profit into that. I don't know what kind of a run this goes on, but it's a rebound that's been working. Back above VWAP. Could see some of these other names do the same thing.
All right, we are coming right up to the trend line here. DFLI, I've got that at 227. Just some guy in Tennessee. Here's what Tesla's going to do. They're going to use that circular Cybertruck deal to power a turbine and then charge them for free. Not bad. Not bad. Just some guy.
Maybe they'll send one up in a Starship rocket.
Like they did with the Roadster?
So the Roadster can have a friend, yeah. I think there's still a website that tracks where that is, by the way.
Where is it? There. Yeah, it's out. I was gonna say it's out there.
I don't have the website up. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure there's still a website that's watching it. Oh yes.
How's Hut doing on the back of that Eric Jackson new long?
RKDA is getting mentioned here. This thing is trying to push through the 65 EMA. It is. It's still having a hard time with holding above it, but it certainly wants to get above it. Volume is going to be the key again. Usually is. Veritone, this thing has just been great this morning.
Yeah, that thing broke its pre-market high and just kept rolling.
Yep, like a 747. That's where it found support, and then it took off like one.
Gary here saying RGTZ, nice move. Okay, so that's the Rigetti inverse ETF that we have here. Indeed, that at the highs here for the day. Yep. Just a reminder on this one, if you're going to end up playing this, it's probably best to just kind of trade this one back and forth. Mm-hmm. If you have a short thesis on Rigetti, maybe adding if it's lower and then selling into pops, at least booking some of your gain on that. So far, pretty decent move here. And you know what else is interesting about this? Let's take a look here at the actual underlying. Remember, we talked with Adam Mesh yesterday, and when we were asking how are you going to short some of these, the big tip that he had is look for when these are weak relatively to the market. So here's Rigetti down 2%. If we take a look at the Qs, let's see what the Qs are doing here.
DFLI sorry to interrupt you. DFLI is hitting that 230 area. It's trying to get through it. Sorry, I just wanted to point that out because that was a big area.
And we were actually right through it. That was a really good mention there, 13. No worries at all. Well, we do have 237 is that pre-market high on DFLI.
And if you look at the daily, we got through a pretty important area that was right at that 230 area. So we're still managing our way through some consolidation from earlier this year. But once we get through that at about 250, this may just run right to 3 pretty easily. There's not a lot of sellers between that consolidation channel and the one at 3.
Okay, volume here flipping from selling volume out of the open to buying volume, so that's pretty good as well. Really quickly here, just to kind of finish the thought up here on Rigetti. Rigetti down 2% here. If we take a look at the Qs, that's bucking the trend. Qs up 1.34%. If we do the same thing, we take a look at the SPY here. Let's see, SPY up 1.3. So maybe we are seeing a divergence here with Rigetti to the rest of the market. I'll go back to DFLI because that looks like the best mover that we currently have at the moment.
Oh yeah, it's really looking pretty good for the moment right now. Seller in the way here, right at 235. Next one is going to be at 240, then 250. Big one at 250.
Okay.
And some of these cooking oil names are trying to turn around here.
DFLI, this did retake that pre-market high by 1 cent here, 238. There's a seller sitting there, but they're chipping him, so they're actually hitting it.
Excellent.
Backed off that 238 spot. That's not done yet, though, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. Let's hope we're right. But this thing is just took out the pre-market high, so there were some sellers there. Momentum is swinging to the upside. It's looking pretty good, but I would anticipate a tiny bit of pulling back here if we do move through 240 and get up to 250. So go ahead.
I was going to say, I'll tell you what, I was just asking about setups. As far as setups goes, this one gave us probably the most tradable plan here. Pulled right down to that 65 EMA, started to bounce. The volume flipped from selling to buying. It really hasn't expanded a whole lot yet, but made a real good move, broke the trend line. Looks like it found resistance. Now it's breaking above here. So I was asking for a setup earlier. This DFLI, probably the best of the day here, this rolling now.
Yep. Trying to get to that 250 and the 250. I'm thinking that if we do get up there and run into those sellers, we could see a little bit of backing off. But as long as we hold above, the 230, 235 area, the resistance we were trying to get through, then we should be able to break through that 250 area on the next visit up. So that's kind of what we might end up getting here, and we are getting a little bit of backing off from the 242. So let's just see what we end up getting here. I still think this could go higher, but there may be a little bit of back and forth before that happens.
Santa here. This is a good mention by Tuna. Santa, this is halted. So this had a nice pop on volume here. This is halted to the upside, 655. Big rip there, up 47%. Was there news associated with this move? Let's check. I got nothing from today. Last piece of news I have is October 7th from last week. So Santa moving on a volume pop here into an upside halt. It's first of the day. Oh, excuse me. This is his second halted today. I beg your pardon. So Santa here halted to the upside.
Oh, Sigma. Line is mentioning Sigma Lithium Corp.
That's SGML.
Mm-hmm.
SGML.
This big resistance area for this one's going to be the 200-day SMA. If we can get through that, this looks like it could make some pretty good moves afterwards. But 200-day SMA, that's currently the big indicator that's suppressing it.
Some dude who pumped open is pumping Santa, some guy named Eric. That's Eric Jackson. So we actually talked about his hut long call from yesterday. So it looks like Santa is the same thing here today. That's helpful. Actually bring up the Twitter streets here. Bitcoin's bouncing, by the way. What's up?
WETH is up.
Did it have news?
I don't know. It had news yesterday.
Yeah, WETH up 8% here.
It had news yesterday that should have caused it to go, but maybe it's just late. Because yesterday they had the recompliance news and the listing requirements news. Yeah, this is a very speculative name. This is. Yeah,
I was just going to say, we've actually traded this one before, so just be careful with this name. Also, really quick here, I guess Mirren was just on. They were televising some of those speeches there. Mirren here says 2 more cuts this year sounds realistic.
Okay.
So it looks like, at least in his opinion, we're going to be getting that October cut.
And that's the one. That's the Trump backer.
That's
right?
the Trump appointee, right?
Okay, so I would expect him to say that. I'm still thinking that we don't. I think we get a rate cut in December.
So you're thinking only one more, and that comes in December.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yep. DFLI, here we go. 250 right there, trying to chew it.
That was a really good one.
Let's see what else. And there it is. 250.
There is definitely a big seller there, and they're actually hitting him. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's up to you, Samel. But for me, this is definitely an area where you would probably want to take a little bit of profit in case they can't get through 250. But this still looks like it could continue higher. But so your decision to make. You got to decide when you're going to take some profit. And this is, for me, this is where I would be taking some profit.
Yeah, this to me is a trim level.
Yep.
Especially when you see that huge seller there at 250, maybe trim a little into that. That way, if it pulls back, you're not totally screwed. And if it keeps going, you still have exposure to it. They're right back on 250.
Mm-hmm.
And through, there's 254 as your day high.
Seed turning around, trying to get to 65 EMA and then VWAP thereafter. Veritone still making new highs, 942 now.
Man, this DFLI, this is straight up, no chill here. 257 or 256, excuse me, your intraday high print there.
Yeah, and that's if you look to the left in 2024, going into 2025, you're going to see the areas that I'm talking about where we're running into resistance. And there is this wick from December 31st that it's dealing with right now. But I think that the real resistance is going to be much higher towards the $3 level. So now the next seller that's got to get through is a small number of sellers around 260, but there's a larger one at 270 it's going to have to deal with next.
Yeah, and I'm with you 100% on that 3 as being the next level there.
Yeah, smoked tuna seed, absolutely. That's we just mentioned.
I was gonna say I was just trying to go to that to see if there's a setup. This does look like maybe it's turning around a little bit here on seed.
Yeah, you had I think the setup was that the recapture of the 200 EMA. That 200 EMA has been pretty good for these cooking oil names. S-Dot bounced off of it. DFLI didn't get down to it, but they got near their 65.
And now you're looking at maybe a recapture of the 65 EMA next here before VWAP.
Right. Coot hasn't gone down to the 200 EMA yet, and it's still looking like it may continue to come down. But the one thing that's kind of making me think otherwise is the pre-market consolidation that we're coming down to as demand zone. So that's going to be from about $3 to looks like about $3.40 and change. Maybe we could go as 350, a high as 350 before to mark off that demand zone. So if we get down there into that 3 to 350 area, we might see some support kicking in that range.
Okay, Santa is open. This has been resumed. This looks like it filled the gap on the way back down after that resumption. Currently holding here at 550, pretty much right by VWAP on SANA.
So here's DFLI with that pull that we were talking about. So this is
finally, maybe this sets up for another trade, 13.
Well, I just don't know how far down we're going to pull back to. It only may go down to like the low 240s or maybe the high 230s. I just don't know. So if we get that, then that would probably be the best opportunity if you're trying to trade this higher. So that's it's up to you if you want to do that. But that's kind of what I see going on here with DFLI.
We might have this 9 EMA kind of trade up and support that price as well. Izzy, any trades, Ryan? Yeah, I tried SLNH and I tried PFAI, but basically flat on both of them. That didn't really go. I did get out green, but it may cover my lunch here. Nothing to be totally excited about. Did miss the DFLI, which had a really good setup there. That was a really good call by 13 and the chat on that one.
And we're getting asked about TSM earnings tomorrow. And we're also getting a mention that, hey, AMD was all you needed today. And AMD having a really great day recapturing the 227 resistance area that it got marked off from when we had that big news on the 6th of October. So with, one of the things that I was reading is, AMD is going to be the first to benefit from the 2 nanometer process that TSM is just going to start to use to make their chips. So that could be, here we go with seed. That's going to be a really big deal for AMD because they'll be probably one of the best chips potentially. You killed Archer today, Izzy. Well done.
There we go. Good deal. Archer's been a good one for our group here. I feel like we trade that often. Archer often works for our group.
Yeah, it's just something you have to remember with this one. This still doesn't have revenue yet. It's still building. I think the plant's done, but they're still building the aircraft, and they're still trying to eye the Olympics to shuttle the Olympians to and from wherever they're staying at. So keep in mind that they still could raise capital. They've done it before several times. They could still do it again until they start becoming profitable.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. We could still see some capital raises out of this company.
Smoke Tuna says, seed is for being patient. There we go, Tuna. All you had to do was talk about it, it looks like, and you popped it up there. Let's see what happens if it can get to that VWAP. I've got 244 as that spot.
Fantastic. And, S dot could still be one of the next ones to recover. It's still working on it, but it's coming up to VWAP. You have the 65 EMA right above it. It's another one with the trend lines. So we'll see what happens here. The float is, remember, it's very low float, S dot. This one has the 882,000 shares in the float. So could see some pretty big moves all of a sudden with S dot.
Okay. We'll see if we get that. Seed seems to be the one that's working at the moment. 244 is that VWAP. We're at 236 here. We'll see if we can get above that.
And we're still waiting for that
Hover?
higher move for DFLI. RGTZ is fantastic still.
Rigetti still selling off. I can go to that next here. I wanted to get XVET was mentioning hover here. I know you were just talking about Archer.
Yeah, and SLNH, this is looking a little weak. The next support that it's going to come down to seems to be about 330, and if it can't hold that, then I think we're going to the 200 EMA.
Here's hover.
iRobot is ripping, says Webcoin.
IRBT, is that what that?
Yep.
Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Oh, did we have news on this, or is this just a market move?
Seed, you keep an eye on Seed if you're still trading this, because this is coming back up to the VWAP again, and it's getting support from the 65 EMA.
Yep.
So just make sure you're not taking your eyes off of that. It's looking pretty good. Veritone, that had a pull that brought it back down underneath 9. This one could be starting to roll over here, so be careful. Maybe, but don't let me change your plans with how you want to trade it. But it look like the momentum is starting to swing to the downside. DFLI, meanwhile, has put in a new regular session high of 260.
What a call on this one. I think at this point now, it's registering and one up time for DFLI.
Yep. I think Lion was the earliest I saw on that one. I'm sorry if I didn't catch anybody else talking about DFLI, but he was the one I was seeing talk about it the earliest. PFAI, this is down to the 200 EMA. I don't know about this one. This is not looking the greatest to me.
Let me put that on screen here. We're still waiting on Seed, by the way. This is the hydroponic one. So if you've ever traded Agrify before, you know exactly what this could do. That's kind of mean. Very strong. Let me go back to this because Very looked like that was going to pull back to the VWAP. So we had a nice little. I don't have it actually testing it. Maybe I've got a different value. Let me check.
My value is 890. Or sorry, 859.
Okay.
There's a seller in the way right now at 910, and the volume isn't that great right now. But if we can get this expansion, they just brought another seller at 905 now. It's kind of getting walked down. But we need to see some volume expansion here to come back to take this price back up and through those sellers. So that's what needs to happen right now. Otherwise, this is probably coming back down to VWAP.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd actually like kind of a VWAP and hold here. That might set up for another move higher. iRobot calls I'm seeing on across the wire here as well.
What, did you say there was news on iRobot?
You know what? I don't think I checked it. I was going to flip around to it, but I got sidetracked doing something else. Let me check here real quick.
I don't see any news.
Okay. Then probably not.
I guess.
I didn't see anything on the Twitter streets either.
Yeah. This is the Roomba. So.
Yeah. No news here.
I don't know what's got everybody excited. I mean, is this potentially maybe one of those, home, not necessarily a home building play, but home furnishing or home appliance kind of thing? If home buying is going to be a thing next year, I don't know. Also, this has some pretty hefty short interest. As a matter of fact, that's probably what this is really happening here. Is this a short squeeze on no news? 36.79% of the float shorted, 5.29 days to cover. That is a short squeeze candidate.
Yep, indeed it is.
Okay, thanks for looking, Joseph Schma. I don't see anything either. Google on the way to all-time highs. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's take a look at Google. Let's see. Oh, look at that, going through 250. They are planning to launch a ride-hailing service in London. So they want to take Waymo international. And that's on the assumption that they already haven't. I don't know if they're operating in any other country, but as my understanding is it's just the US right now. So
and yes, by the way, Ed, this sure looks like this is going for some new all-time highs here. I would not be surprised. Google, one of those players, I think would be pretty good.
Yeah, I do like the way this is looking right now. Got to get above this all-time high of, what is this, just flat out 256 even.
I actually like this idea here. Just some guy said, I have a Roomba. It should have never been a cleaning thing. It should have been a security thing to watch for leaks, break-ins, fires, etc. That's not a bad idea at all. I feel like I'd be more inclined to have one of those if it did more than just vacuuming. I could train the cat to ride on it, like some of those cool TikTok videos. That also would be sweet.
Then I would expect, if that happens, I would expect that a security company like ADT would pick them up.
Yeah, or clone it, copy it, or something.
Yeah. And yes, Brian, exactly. Ring cameras. There's all kinds of home security stuff. But it's a really interesting idea to have, a Roomba be part of that cybersecurity aspect, because they do have cameras on them.
Yeah. Real quick, Mike here saying, my cat did, Ryan. How did you get it to not be afraid of it? How did you get it to sit on top of it? That's what I'd be interested in. Let's take a look at some of the other movers here real quick. I did notice your Hond was up a little bit more here today, 13. Seed, let's come on, load the chart there. Okay, so Seed backed off, could not get above its VWAP. We'll see if we get another opportunity to go through the VWAP.
You could probably put a box on top of the Roomba and the cat will be fine with it.
Yeah, that's actually a good call. My cat Smoochies is a gangsta. That doesn't surprise me at all, Mike. Doesn't surprise me at all.
Fatty Liver King, my opinion is, it's been this way for months now, is that we were willing to see 2 rate cuts this year. It was going to be in September and December. And prior to even getting any rate cuts, my whole thing was it's either going to be September and December. If we're not getting a cut in September, we're going to get a cut in October, and that could probably be it for the year. So far, we did get a cut in September. I don't think we're going to get one in October. I think we're going to get one in December. And there's several different reasons why I think we're not going to get one right now. And aside from a lot of the Fed speak, which seems to be in a little bit more of the uncertain, let's wait and see camp, we do have a lot of just give me a second to get my thoughts straight on this, because we don't want to get into a situation to where we're cutting too quickly, to where it causes inflation to get hot again. We also don't want to cut too slowly because the job market is starting to look weak. So the Fed is in a really tough spot about how to manage rates going into the next year. And I think with the level of uncertainty that they've got going on, and not to mention some other underlying factors, I think that they would probably take the more cautious approach and wait and see what happens. That's my opinion. It might not be right, but I've been pretty good about calling these rate cuts for the past 2 years. So I hate having to kind of mention that, but we'll see what we end up getting here.
I'll mention it. You've been really good at calling these rate cuts the past couple of years.
Okay, fine. So we'll see what happens. I might be wrong. But I think that the best approach for the best path forward for the Fed right now is to do quarterly rate cuts into next year. If TSM has bad earnings tomorrow, it could reveal that the AI companies aren't buying? Maybe.
I don't think that's going to be the case, though.
Yeah, it's hard to feel that way. I think that might be the case when it comes to NVIDIA because of all the export and chip controls that are going on with them. It may be a little bit different for them. No, that's not it. Shut up, Cam. I just had to put that out there because it's something that I've been really trying to pay attention to and trying to make sure. Wow, look at that move. Forget never mind about what I'm talking about. Let's look at QNRX.
This is this is open now. Literally just resumed. 19 stopped it.
So QNRX.
And you guys are also talking about GNPX. This is a penny stock here going for dollar territory. This actually has really good volume and price action here today.
Let's see what the news is here. I don't see any news today. They had some pretty good news on Friday. Did this move on Friday?
On which one are you talking about?
QNRX? Yes, it did. Oh, okay. So
yeah, QNRX. We traded this last week.
Okay, yeah, this is the one that went to 41.80. Okay. So I guess this is just, and maybe we're getting some more of that. I'm not sure.
I don't think there was anything fresh here today.
So Tom, you kind of let's see. I'm trying to think of what day it was. There's a Form 8K that was filed on March 26th, I believe, that goes into the redemption offers. Now, you have these investors that are, creating liquidity for the company for when they merge, and if investors want out, they have an opportunity to get out during the redemption period, which is going to be the 18th and 19th and 20th prior to the shareholder vote. That's going to merge the company and get the ticker change and everything. But once that happens, they cannot redeem those shares anymore. Instead, those shares will convert to commons, and they'll be the same type of shares that you and I get. But like I said, I haven't looked to see what the lockup period is for any of those, or if there is one. So they might not be able to sell shares right away after the 20th. But that's why I'm directing you towards that Form 8K. And there's some other forms after that go into how all the different shares and redemptions are going to work. With that Form 8K on the 26th of March, I think that's going to be the one you're going to want to look at to get a better idea of what the plan is for redemption offers for HOND.
Serve here, this is getting mentioned by Claire. Serve continues to run. So this is a nice little dip out of the open and a run to new highs here. This has been moving a lot recently. It's actually had a pretty good move. I do think that this runs into some pretty serious resistance at 20. I would say probably 24 after that.
Tom, because it's money leaving it's money leaving their the company. They're taking money back out. So it's going to pull the price of the stock down. It creates downward pressure on the stock. Because if you're redeeming your shares, you're taking that money back out and you're going somewhere else. So that's how it affects it. DFLI knifed.
Izzy mentioning an insider sale here from Jeff Bezos. We did have this. Let's see. I don't have anything here yesterday updated yet from that. He's on a stock-based compensation plan to sell, though, isn't he? I remember a lot of the other sells down there at 225, 227. What's he at still? Sorry, 13. Go ahead.
We are getting some real weakness here in these cooking names and pretty much a lot of stuff. Not the AIs. Rigetti's kind of turning around right now, but all these cooking oil plays, they're not looking, and all the movers from this morning, they're not looking too great right now.
Hope you took your gains on those.
Yeah.
He's under 10% now. He still has here. What was that? He still has a ton of shares. Yeah, he's got 883 million shares of Amazon still. I don't know that that's notable, to be honest.
Let's look here.
Maybe for the short term, but I don't think long term that's necessarily going to be noticeable.
And you said that there was he was selling?
Izzy said that there was a sale yesterday. I don't have it in the insiders tool yet, but just perhaps it wasn't updated. I'm just saying he still has 883 million shares of Amazon.
Oh, this 13G? Is that what he's referring to?
Wiz saying, Ryan, what's a good poll today? I didn't have any good poll ideas here today. Normally I lean on the producer for that. He had internet trouble today.
Today's trivia, what retail name is close to all-time, I think you mean all-time high? You would scratch your head, not including big special dividends, up 300 points from April lows.
I don't know. Retail name.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I almost want to think that's like a car parts retail store.
I was thinking it might be WMT Izzy, but that's kind of been on a decline. I don't think it's Costco either.
Is it AZO? Is it AutoZone?
So he's talking about one that's been up 300 points since the Liberation Day unwind. Smoke Tuna mentioning Seed. What happened there? That turnaround? Yeah, it's probably the only one that hasn't getting hit as far as cooking oil companies are. This is still trying to get through VWAP.
Yeah. I am out of Seed. I did hit this one a little bit, but when it couldn't break VWAP, I just took what I had off the table there. So no open position here on Seed, but I'll leave this up because this is coming right up to that VWAP. So it's not AutoZone. I'm guessing it's not O'Reilly's. It's definitely not Lulu, right? Because you said up 300 points since Liberation Day. Lulu's just 169 right now.
Well, it's not Amazon.
Seed at VWAP here. Robert, good morning. It's good to see you again.
Morning.
ASML. We actually gave a trade out on that one yesterday with Anne Marie. Here's what your ASML looks like after its earnings plus 3.5%.
I mean, that's not a bad guess, Izzy, because it did, since the Liberation Day unwind with the bottom on April 7th, it did go up like 250 points.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's the one. Maybe it is.
I guarantee you almost no one in here shops there. Well, I mean, then help us out.
Well, then it's,
It's not Boot Barn because that's still under 200. Did Seed knife right when it got to that VWAP? That dirty Seed. Yep. And look, pulled it right down.
It popped VWAP, and then sellers are like, they
Popped and dropped. Yep. They just sold right into it. And this is now back down 210, which is your 200 EMA.
Look at QNRX. That had a nasty reversal, and it just unhalted, and now it's heading down more. A lot of these names really is turning around here. All right, now back to this.
Mike trying to remind us again, the cooking oil is labeled UCO, used in biofuels, not cooking. Mike, not happy with our discussion here on cooking oils. Jay, what is it? Just give us the answer to the trivia. I don't think anyone's going to get it.
Hey, Pro. How you doing?
Dillard's, DDS. Yep, would have never guessed that. You could have given me 100 guesses and probably a couple more hints, and I wouldn't have got that one.
Oh, yeah. Nice golden cross back in July. The rest is history. Let me see here. What does this look like on a...
Rigetti is bouncing there. Again, this is also why I'm saying that if you're going to play those short ETFs, the better move is to just trade them as opposed to just trying to hold them for the big move. Maybe you do get that, but Trading around it when you get it to move in your direction, probably the best way to do that. Good bounce here in Rigetti.
Yeah, Coot looks like that's starting to get some life, trying to make its way back up to the 65 EMA. Just be careful. Don't want to get hurt in these multiple times. What is happening here?
SLNH, this is a good mention there. PJ, this did move through the VWAP. We still have to see what happens at that trend line. That value up there, 373 at this point now.
You wouldn't have happened to have taken any kind of position in Pack B, would you?
I did not, no. I know we talked about that a few times.
Yeah, that's having a decent day. And they got some news yesterday as well. Interesting. Okay, well, this is just this is just one I just bought one day and held on to, and it's doing pretty well. This was the one on we talked about this where companies would use them for diagnostics tools, services for scientific research.
I do remember our discussion on this, but I ended up not adding it myself.
SLNH, this is getting some pretty good move, having a good move right now, right through VWAP and some multiple levels I was using as resistance. So this is the one where if it can get through that 375 area, we'll come up to that 415, 430 area where there's the next area of consolidation. Looks like the selling in some of these names from this morning are catching some support.
Very might be returning to try and make a move through its all-time high, or excuse me, through its intraday high. Coot still kind of flirting with some of those moving averages, but really unable to get above it. SOGP, this is doing a good job staying above its VWAP. Guys are mentioning very, as that is going. This, yeah, we want to see if it can get through its previous high.
It's a little concerning up here for me. The volume isn't where it used to be. The momentum's starting to slow. I'm a little concerned that this could end up rolling over if we can't get that volume back. And folks, it is past that 10:30 time where volume does leave. So not sure we'll see that right away. It probably, if there is going to be volume come back, it takes it back up over 942, the high we put in earlier. It might not be now. It probably will be later, if at all.
Zach saying Rigetti, the spike as soon as the SPY pulled, whoever mentioned that may be right for real. That's we were talking about, looking to see if Rigetti is showing relative weakness to the overall market. So we'll keep watching that. Amazon did roll over a little bit there. That's red now. Amazon, Izzy was mentioning earlier how Amazon was weak here today.
Robert mentioning GNRC. What a rebound this thing has had. Because we talked a lot about this one and this having a nice theme for the hurricane season and this and that. And it's been a very quiet hurricane season. So as soon as we got into August, this thing started topping out and went through decline through the rest of the summer. But now starting to catch a little bit of a bid here, moved through the 20 and 50-day SMAs. We're coming back up to this trend line that I've got going on here since early last year. Looks like 200 area going to be the area where we're going to have to see some big volume come in to break through that supply zone from August. We're looking pretty good.
Fatty Liver King saying Amazon is laying off a bunch of workers. We covered that news story at the open here this morning, 15%, and it's going to be from the HR department. I would actually think that would be good for the stock price, but rolling over.
You're right, Zach. I probably shouldn't talk too much about that because, man, we still have 46 days, right? Yeah, and I know I understand that, Jay. It's just that on a seasonality, from a seasonality perspective, GNRC has done really well from June to November because of that hurricane seasonality. But you're right; it is an energy play too.
Here's your BZAI back through its pre-market high. Bank of America holding higher by 5%. Morgan Stanley just shy of 7%.
some more turnaround here with some of these. Look at Seed. This thing is trying to turn around here.
Yeah, Crow says, I'd imagine AI took the HR jobs. My sister-in-law got replaced by AI. Indeed, that was actually what the story was about. Again, we did that right around the opening here. Laying off up to 15% of its human resources team with additional cuts expected in other departments as it ramps up its AI investment. The exact number of employees laid off and the trimming of the cuts are yet to be disclosed. And we actually reached out. They did not respond to us yet. We'll see if Seed can hold on to 2 there.
Yeah, Lion, Trump may have a hand in being able to get that ruling, that EPA ruling reversed. But that's really what the news is going to be, because that's the hurdle. That's the big hurdle, is that the EPA veto is what's keeping NAC from doing anything going forward right now. Now, it could be the case that Trump is going to be the one that makes that reversal happen. But the news out of the court is what's going to, I think, is going to ascend it. And Trump's certainly going to boost it. But the news that we have to get that EPA veto reversed.
Voyager now on the scanner. QS, this got mentioned earlier. QS, this is another battery play. QuantumScape ripping to the highs here. 19 looks to be stopping it so far. You guys mentioning that Santa is running. That was halted earlier, wasn't it? Let me see if I can bring that up here.
This thing up 31%. Backed off from the high of, what was it, like 650, 655.
Crow mentioning that Neg is setting up on the daily to run again. It's actually been another good mover that we've traded here on this show. Looks like it's compressing a little bit down here. Yeah, Michael saying Rigetti revenue to market cap there. Yeah, Rigetti not cheap, turns out, right? 7.92 million in revenue and market cap of 18 billion. Indeed, that is extremely expensive.
Archer's not at an all-time high, guys. The all-time high for Archer is,
I think they just set a new day high, right?
No, it's 1860 is the all-time high. We're at 1446. You got the high is shortly after, well, not shortly, but it was in the months following the IPO. Looks like I think it was 2021. Go back here, because I was looking at a monthly chart, and we have a high from February of 1860. We're getting there, though. And ABAT maybe curling.
Marcus saying Rigetti is a joke. Indeed. The joke might be on the shorters, though, because it has been ripping faces off. Still trying to trade that through RGTZ.
Oh, post-merger.
Robert saying cheap premium on HIMS. Robert, what's your best option play on HIMS? Strike and expiry. Upside bet? Is it a multi-leg trade? Are you looking out to the holiday season or maybe next year? Let me know what you think there for a HIMS options trade. I think Amanda said she was trading HIMS when she popped on yesterday too.
Seeing a lot of commercials, during the NFL games.
Yeah, there's a ton of them.
Yep.
There's a ton of them. That and Nutrafol, I feel like I see all the time. And then if we turn on CNBC in the morning, it's that generic Viagra with the AI voiceover.
Seeing a lot of AI commercials too.
Yeah,
like a lot of them.
Me too.
And as soon as that what was it, VEO3 that Google had, you just could prompt an entire in a scene. I was like, this is going to replace.
You slacked me immediately on that. You're like, look at this, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
This is going to replace actors in commercials, and we are already seeing it. Massive. And we also saw a lot of cuts to advertising budgets, when around the time that this was starting to happen too. So interesting stuff. Looks like AI is going to be taking over advertising.
We'll see how that actually does.
Yep. Wiss mentioning ZNB. Haven't looked at that one yet.
Not today. No, ZNB. This was a previous stock that we had traded here before, though. I feel like this was a last week issue.
This one popped this morning. I don't know what the news is. Let's see here. Announces a 231 million Bitcoin-backed PIPE. $1.70 units with 255 warrants, closing October 16th, tomorrow. So that's
still waiting for my register ring. What did you ring the register on, Tennis? Was that AMD from earlier? That made a pretty awesome move here. AMD, this is actually still at the highs here. Let me know if it was AMD. If it was, whoop, there you go.
Lion, we might have to, move into Emperor because he's starting to, really influence other countries. So I don't think that's I know it's tongue in cheek, but at the same time, I don't think you're wrong about that. He's telling everybody what to do, and eventually they do it.
NVTS also at the highs here, 1530.
SLNH looks like this wants to try and climb over 375, but we need to see some better volume than this.
Didn't we have a knife in that one earlier too?
Not really. It wasn't this one. This one did have some.
No, you're right.
But it's been mostly sideways, and this one looks like it's trying to get back up to 375. The one that we had a real ugly knife in, that was Seed. And now QNRX is knifing in an ugly way. DFLI had a knife, but it was bought back up. It went down to VWAP and got picked back up. And it's kind of in that same area where it was got picked up. But we'll see if it holds up right now. It's still trying to curl, but there's a lot of sellers in the way to the upside. GNPX, maybe another run.
That's the penny stock. That you know what? Sorry for interrupting you, 13. This is so close to one. I would not be surprised if this made another shot at it.
Yeah, and Jay Rice, that's kind of the thing I was looking into with HOND versus NKLR. NKLR seems to be pretty behind the curve with some of these other nuclear names. It seems attractive, but it doesn't seem like they've got the business. You know what I mean? HOND certainly does. And I think they're going to be the largest molten salt reactor core that we have out there after this becomes public. So I think that's true. HOND might actually be better than NKLR. SLNH still climbing, looking for that 375 print. That would be nice. It would be really nice if this did just make that move through the 375 and went up to the 4s where that next area consolidation is. But we do need that. We really do need that volume to show up. SMR for growth.
You think he means growth, right?
I know what he means. Yeah. He went with a single U. And SES says Ryan Smurl.
We looked at SES yesterday too, didn't we? I feel like this one was also making some moves yesterday. Yeah, huge drop yesterday. Much more constructive move here today. Better volume too on this.
Had news yesterday too.
And this Rigetti chart, just kind of looking at RGTI, this actually looks like this might want to go back towards 58.
All right.
Robert, I'd asked you earlier regarding the HIMS premium. You were talking about the 55 calls for Friday. So you're looking for a short-term upside move there. Those were 220 ask when I asked you, 260 now, 257 ask. So not bad. Looking like it's a short-term upside trade there. Good stuff on that, Robert. Appreciate you.
Robert's been absolutely excellent with his trades. Especially that ASML.
He was one of the earlier folks on ASML.
Yep.
I feel like wasn't that in like a 300 handle, Robert, when you first started dealing with that? The stock's $1,000 now. Because it was last year, it was sometime in 2024. Yeah, maybe 700. Maybe it was down here when this thing really kind of came back. Nonetheless, just really good stuff on ASML.
Clean Slate has given us the updates on SANA, SANA. This is moving through 6, or it was a moment ago. There's some sellers in the way. There's a little seller in the way at 6, but a much larger one, like twice the size, at 605. So we get some more volume here. We're gonna chew through those sellers, but that's not quite happening at the moment. So 605, a little bit of resistance area from selling pressure.
Apple unveils the M5 chip with 4 times faster AI GPU performance, 45% better graphics, and enhanced efficiency across MacBook Pro, iPad Pro, and Vision Pro.
When does that come out? Because then have they released their M4s yet? Are they in any products right now? I think they're in some laptops, but
14-inch MacBook Pro with the M5 chip, 3.5 times faster AI performance, 24-hour battery life, starts at $1,600. That's not bad. I still have the M3 chip in my MacBook Pro. I've got the bigger one though.
Wednesday, October 22nd.
Okay, so that's coming here. It'll be interesting to see if those AI can. We talked a little bit on Happy Hour yesterday about the what was it? The NVIDIA AI workstation, and how really not worth it is. I'd be curious to see how these new MacBooks do.
So earlier, and I think this might be the last thing I have to say before we split for the day. But earlier, I'd mentioned how AMD is going to be the first one to the 2 nanometer process by TSMC.
Yep.
So this is a 3 nanometer chip, this M5. So the next one, the M6, that's the plan for the 2 nanometer process. So with that in mind, I don't know that. Might get some consumer excitement out of the 3 nanometer one, but I think the 2 nanometer one might see some holdouts until that comes out. So we'll see. But the M6, that's the 2 nanometer process plan from TSMC for Apple's next chip. By the way, SLNH, seeing some more movement here, looking for that 375.
Are we going to get another setup on this?
I think it's already set up.
Yeah, this sits right beneath that trend line. You're right.
Already set up, and if we just get that, I say it all the time, if we just get that volume component, we can really see some great moves in this.
And we're still kind of waiting on that volume component.
Yep. SOGP, nice. Well done, Jay Wild. Well, should I start saying my exit salutations?
Exit salutations. You can if you want. We can give. Let's see. Are they ready? Is it only Rhett's here? I mean, I could try and pull Rhett on by himself. I don't know if he's going to appreciate that all that much, but I can probably do that.
Let's not rattle the cage if that's
Oh, you can't. The story trading guy. That's the one thing you can't rattle their cages. That much I can tell you. There'll be no rattling of the cages for story trading. Those guys get it done regularly.
Will TMQ rise up to 17 by tonight? I have 4 minutes. Drop some bars. Nobody wants to hear that. Let's see. TMQ 17.
Drop some bars. I can just imagine 13 rapping. That would be something else.
Oh God, I don't even want to think what that looks like or sounds like.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to see Bigabees. Take care of yourself. Hopefully your travel went well and everything's going okay for you. Yeah, I would like 13. If I could make a request at some point, if you ever change your mind on this, I would like a rap about cigars and scotch.
All right, producer, I'm going to need some help with the AI lyrics.
Time to go to the Chat GPT machine and figure that song out.
As far as the TMQ going to 17, that's a really tough call. It looks like it's setting up to try and go higher, but to go to 17 by tonight, that seems like a real tall order. If anything, I think that we would need to see this come back down to 8 and get support there before we start talking about, going up to 17. That's just my opinion. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but I don't think 17 today is likely unless there's some kind of news that pulls up all the minerals plays in Alaska, like NAK in this one. So news aside, I don't see this going to 17. Do we forget NUKK? Oh, shady. Freebird, yeah, I don't know. That's actually, that would be a pretty good tune to do it to. But I'm no, we're not going to do that.
I was going to say,
you started, Ryan. You started.
13 has never really expressed to me the musical talent and interest. That would be a new one for me. I would be awfully surprised to see that, but that'd be pretty good. By the way, before we go here, SLNH, which we were just talking about here, this did end up breaking now 381. So there it goes through the trend line. This is what we've been waiting on all morning here. We got our next spot up here at 4 on SLNH.
Yep, got some sellers right here in the way at the high 380s, 390 right now. But just get some more volume. We'll get through those. We'll hit our 4. I want to see this thing kind of land in the area between 415 and 430. For some time, this goes sideways before it starts to make a decision on the next direction, whether that be up or down. But that sideways price action, I want to see next up in the low 4s.
Okay, real good stuff here, 13. Let's do it for real now. Your exit salutations, I think, is what you called them earlier. What are they for us today?
Well, folks, it's been another wonderful day trading with you, and we did capture some gains here. Cooking names didn't really pan out that great, but you know what? We still managed to get some trades in there. We found some other stuff that did really well at the same time. So even though we had some multiple 100% runners, not the craziest of days.
No, not great.
But you know what? Tomorrow is another day. We will have some more opportunities. We will get them. We will capture them. We will get some money. Let's come back here tomorrow with the same kind of attitude, and we'll have all that happen. So until then, folks, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy story trading, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Great job, as always, 13. We'll see you on the happy hour, and we'll see you again tomorrow. That is 13. Now, his departure leaves room for Rhett and the Godfather. Rhett, how you doing here today?
Another day in paradise, Ryan. Another day in paradise.
If I had pulled you on early there by yourself, would you have been all right with that? Or you've been like, what the hell are you doing?
Perfectly fine with it.
Okay, sounds good. Godfather, how you doing today?
Great. Nice to see you.
All right. What do you guys got on deck for today?
Wow. What don't we have to talk about?
There's a lot.
It's crazy. Yeah, I think it's a good time actually I'll take that lead in, Ryan, to talk about the froth in this market. And I think we need to stop and recognize when the markets are too easy, that there is some froth in the market. And look, here's what's going on underneath. The indices are making new highs, but yet big cap tech, both hardware and software, are essentially flat for the last month. So what's taking these indices to new highs? The sectors that are taking these indices to new highs, believe it or not, are primarily unprofitable tech, followed by the most shorted stocks. So this is squeezy action. This is why the market appears jumpy. This is why we lose $450 billion in stock market cap in 7 minutes when Trump tweets about cooking oil. So, just recognize where we are in the cycle. I pounded the table on the small cap spaces to say, look, you can make money in this market. You need to recognize that things are going to be jumpy at these levels. So lower your trade size, swing less, day trade more, close out your positions at the end of the day. All of these things, these are part of the things that feed into this type of action, because I think you're seeing more and more folks do this. They're renting gains. It's hard to have conviction on stocks that don't have a firm basis in fundamentals. And a lot of these names are not trading on fundamentals, but we'll talk about a couple of names that, give you access to where the market performance is without having to pay really lofty multiples, and where you can have some conviction and where you can ride then through some market volatility. So look, this market right now is trading on technicals. It's trading on thematic conditions. It's trading on lower rates. We saw Powell yesterday suggesting that, the rates should go down because of job weakness despite inflation. And, it's interesting. I'm looking at, and I watch like a hawk because of my interest in the housing trade, the US 10-year, and we're right at the 4% level. If we break 4%, you'll immediately see a bid in all of these interest rate sensitive names. You have Stephen Murin, using some moral suasion to talk about how the tariff and trade volatility is a case for lower rates. But look, the Fed fund futures have already baked this in. There's a 92% chance that we're going to see 25 beeps at October 28 meeting. There's an 80% chance that we're going to see another 25 beeps in December. So but a lower rate environment, and then of course the bigger thing right now is policy catalysts and headlines. These are what's driving the market. But for this market to sustainably go higher, you need to start having or have a resurgence of leadership from these big cap names. And I looked at Broadcom, as an example. Look, we saw this thing go up 10% on this deal with OpenAI. It's an absolutely massive deal, right? It's 10 gigawatts, and every gigawatt is 10 to 15 billion in revenue for Broadcom. It's $1 to $1.50 in earnings. The thing went up 10%, never even really made it to the highs it was at in September. And now it's come off. It's up a mere 2.5% since this announcement. So it's things like this that you need to pay attention to, figure out whether the good news is all baked in or not. And we're kind of at that point right now. So we need a strong catalyst to get these leadership groups back performing in this market to take us sustainably higher. What happens if that doesn't happen? Well, we're very close to, these key 9, 21, and sort of 50-day moving averages on all the indices. Red, I know you trade the Qs a lot, and you see it, right? As soon as you get close to flirting with a 21-day, or you get close, and we challenged the 50-day intraday yesterday on that tweet from Trump. We didn't quite get there, but we got close. And we're back above the 21 days, but we had closes below the 21-day moving averages on both SPY and the Qs yesterday. So we're not out of the woods. And what happens when we get breaks of those is the liquidity that's pushing the market higher, the algo trade that's trading off the retail flow, et cetera, it starts to reverse. And then you start to see the VIX climb, and you start this virtuous circle where it's that whole concept of, oh, there's a key moving average, and wow, it feels like there's a magnet on a stock to that moving average. Why? It's because all of these things are working together. This morning is another morning where we got a slew of AI-related data points, all to the positive. We had some strong guidance out of ASML for the chip trade. You saw Intel announcing that they're going to launch an AI chip. A couple of the names that we've been advocating in our Discord, again, going back to that theme of, hey, you can still play these core themes, but you don't have to pay 20 times EV to sales for something that has no revenue. And a couple of the names in custom silicon that have done extremely well are BZAI today and AIP. And I went at length into the AIP thesis on the small cap show, and I'll just give a brief summary. And look, this thing is subject to a 10 points summary of why to be bullish this name in our Discord. So, come in there and get the full scoop. But the bottom line is anyone outside of the NVIDIA ecosystem that is doing custom silicon essentially is using their network on a chip technology. It allows them to more efficiently design chips. As chip complexity goes up, they are the interconnect. So think of chips, whether they're the chips that the BZAI are putting out their graph processors, inference low power chips, it's like a city. There's so many pieces, and they all need to be connected. And AIP are the roadways that connect all of those pieces. So you're talking about 10x data transfer speeds, 10x in reliability, 10x in efficiency in design. So every time there's an open AI deal, with the likes of Broadcom, and more guys going the Google route of custom silicon, the indirect beneficiary is AIP. And again, here's a name that you're paying 6 times for on an EV to sales basis versus peers at 19, 20, well in excess of 15. So it's in the right place. It has great momentum, up another 9% today. I think we hit 52-week high today. It's breaking out. So you got technical support to this thing, but you've got a fundamental value that's supported in the $18 to $20 range. So when you get a dip from a Trump tweet that takes everything down, 10, 15%, some of these names that don't have fundamental support get sold extremely quickly. This is one, that when it happens, you can comfortably buy it. And that's really how you make money, big time money, is having conviction. And I don't know a better way to have conviction than to have strong underpinning of the fundamentals. So, that's kind of my view on where we're at. I do think there are going to be continued machinations on this trade front. I mentioned in our Discord this morning that while I'm trading a bunch of these names, I continue to pick away at volatility on any kind of weakness, because you're going to get that spike. And it's right at that spike where you want to sell that volatility position and use those proceeds, to buy the dips and the names that you have conviction in. But again, you look at what's working in this market, right? It's energy as a second derivative play to data centers. Look at the core themes, like this HPC conversion trade. Who are the leaders in this trade? Well, they're the ciphers, the IRENs, the NBISs, the core weaves, the cores, the APLDs. Who's actually signed deals, data center deals for their power contracts? It's all of these leading players. Why? Because there's a concentration of talent. There's only so many good power contracts. There's so many good actual physical locations for these facilities, and there's only so much talent that knows how to stand up these data centers. Now you look at where the action is. It's in the BITFs of the world. It's in the hives of the world, right? Why is this? It's because we're getting in the later innings, and you've seen the leaders move. Cipher is now, banging the door on mid 20s. I don't even know where IREN is now, but somewhere north of 60. So, but you need to recognize that these are tier 2 players. There's a reason they haven't signed deals yet. So, they're trading in sympathy to the theme, not because there's, fundamentals to support it. So, just as an example, same thing on the energy side. One of the names that we've had a great deal of success with, and one of the themes that I've been pounding the table on, is thermal coal. These are profitable companies. You can buy them at 5 to 6 times EBITDA. Look at Peabody, BTU, for example. This thing has an enterprise value of $3.4 billion. In 2022 and 2023, they produced EBITDA of 1.2 and 1.5 billion, respectively. On these kind of peak prices, it's trading at like 2 times EBITDA. Compare that to an Oklo that isn't expected to have any meaningful revenue until 2027 and no meaningful earnings until 2029, and it's trading at a $19 billion EV or market cap. So look, there's ways to get exposure to the trade, without without taking on an undue amount of risk, because there will be drawdowns in this market, and the highest flyers will get hurt the most. So recognize where we are in the cycle, see it in these sectors in power, see where the froth is, keep a list of in excess of 20% shorted names. And I look at that list and see, is it, double-digit green? And day after day recently, we've seen that. Well, these are the crappiest companies on the market. And when they're getting a bid, this is your telltale sign that we're in the later innings here. So, yeah, that's one of the key themes I wanted to talk about this morning. What's on your mind, Rhett?
Nothing much. I've actually, staying on these themes, I've been reducing size on a lot of these positions in my retirement account. Not liking how huge moves they are with the fundamentals not really backing a lot of these companies. But one to mention too that I'm starting to reduce size on is ASTS. I was wanting to get it sell some, about half my position in my retirement account, around the 100 area. Looking for a pullback here in this name, but we did have some news. I think it was this morning. You may be able to touch more on this. I've never heard of the company. It's called, I think it's called Bell. It's kind of like an AT&T, they say in Canada. So I don't know.
Yeah, Bell's the largest cell phone carrier in Canada. They were one of the early partners with ASTS. They provided some of this pre-revenue financing to ASTS. So, all you're seeing is all of these contracts that were signed early on, essentially saying, hey, we believe in the product and we're ready to fund your CapEx to get this going. We'll front end load our revenue commitments with funding. And, now these things are being turned into definitive agreements, as they're close to turning these dark satellites, on and being able to offer services. And so you're seeing them clarify in the marketplace pricing plans for their customers and
exactly that's what I was going to say.
Such things, right?
Yeah, because they released their pricing plans for the wireless, so you can start to try to do a deep dive and see the TAM and where the profits are going to be heading for something like that for ASTS. But some of the other names that were that me and Ben were looking at, you as well, was Oklo. Way up here at these valuations. I mean, some of these companies are not feasible at these valuations, and eventually one day, I don't know when the right time to short this name is, because I mean, if you've been trying to short this on the way up, you've been burned a lot of times. But I'm starting to watch this very closely to open a short position in my long-term account for this name.
Yeah, look, it's a difficult strategy to short something simply because you think it's overvalued in a frothy market. Because pick your saying, but the market can stay unreasonable for longer than you can stay solvent. So I shorted this thing successfully in the 142 range, was lucky to get some covers in the 117, 120 range, and then I left it alone, and I'm happy I did, because obviously it'd be well underwater. I think you're going to get some pretty clear indications in the price action. These are super high beta names. So if you start to see the indices roll over, I'd much rather keep a list of names like Oklo, which are some of the highest flyers in this market. And when some of those indicators start turning, like we talked about, you start to see the indices break back through the 21-day moving averages, start to, approach the 50s. A break of the 50, I think, is going to see a real spike in the VIX. And then you go to those lists of the really high flyers, and you do some, short-term day trading. That's the way I approach it. I will do, for me, my rule on options is always to stay at least a month out, irrespective of the fact that I, plan it to be a short-term trade, because things can happen where, trades sometimes end up, the start out as day trades end up being a swing, because you want to have room to see them succeed or to add to them or what have you. So, but we're not there. We're not there at the moment. But there will be, indicators in the price action of the indices that sort of give guidance of when it's a good time to enter a trade like that.
Yeah, and then we have this today. I saw this news this morning. I personally did not trade this company. We talked about it on the morning show, VRI, because I did not know the company very well. I saw the headlines announcing the VDR contract win with leading hyperscalers, an update on Q3 financial outlook. Have you looked into this company at all or no?
Sorry, which company?
VERI. Yep.
Yeah, look, I know this company from the early days of the AI trade. Again, we've gone beyond the first tier through to the second tier, and now we're starting to see some of the third tier in terms of quality companies, participate in this rally. Again, that gives me caution. These are low quality companies. If they haven't participated until now and are starting to participate, there's your sign that these are situations where you want to borrow returns. They're suitable for day trades, maybe swing trades if the market conditions hold, but it's not something you want to hold longer term.
Yeah, and then another one too to keep an just to mention as well, VLO. This thing has been rocketing, but looking at from a fundamental standpoint, they are going to have to do some raises here probably in the next coming up. So just keep that in mind. They've been having some decent news on the move up here. You are above the 200-day moving average now, but sometime in the near future, I would assume that you should see an offering or something of that sort for this company, for VLO.
Yeah, capital structure matters, and this is exactly the type of market that these third-tier companies want and need, and manufacture or save press releases for, so that they get good retail engagement or algo engagement when they put news out, and then it's immediately an opportunity to fill treasuries, because if you don't do it in a market like this, you're going to be ostracized as a management team, and a lot of these guys need to do it just to, frankly, to survive. So, again, I want to talk about this theme of where we are in terms of the innings, and it's self-evident, right? Rare earth is another example, next to the direct AI inputs that we talked about, and the power. Look, there's only been a couple of U.S. investments in rare earth companies. Obviously, MP, LAC, TMQ. These names, the first movers. But what's moving now? Well, the UAMYs, the USARs, the METCs, the quadruple U's. Yes, some of these may get U.S. government investment, but a lot of the speculation in all of these names is already factored that in. So be careful chasing these things, because they're not all going to end up being investment candidates. So I just be careful. We've gone right into the third tier of rare earth names. In battery, the same thing. You guys saw this headline that as of November 8th, China is going to institute some restrictions on their export of key battery technology inputs. Again, there are quality ways to play this, where you can have conviction, through volatility that won't shake you out and whipsaw you to death. For me, the name that rises to the top in the battery side, because the bulk of U.S. imports, by the way, of Chinese battery technology is for grid stabilization. And EOSE, with their technology, is made in America, completely unreliant on Chinese technology, and this is the market they serve. This is the only market they serve. So another data point that came out today that sort of ignited the whole SMR trade was this talk about the U.S. instituting small modular reactor technology on U.S. military bases, and then packaging that with batteries. This is exactly where ESOE comes in. There's some fundamental support. I think we're at the high end of fundamental value on a name like this, But then there are some, other names that are outperforming even EOSE that shouldn't be anywhere near the levels that they are. So again, one positive headline on trade between Trump and Xi on some of this rare earth stuff or battery stuff, and those high flying names are going to get hit the most. So it's the old adage in a market like this that you dance while the music's playing, but you enjoy the party and you stand close to the door. For me, I've got a basket of these smaller spec names that are super high beta, like BITF, for example. I've traded this more than any other name this morning, but I'm keeping it on a really short leash. And then, some of a portion of each of the profits of, these day scalps, I keep adding to UVXY because it's just a matter of time in this market where you see liquidity turns or you see headlines that are going to give you big gap downs or big gap ups. I want to talk about one small cap name that was mentioned by a friend of the story trading community and a colleague that we work with on small caps, and that being Money Mark's pick of IZEA, IZEA, the ticker. I want to mention it because there's been a break higher in this name. And this is, again, the type of name that you can have conviction on from a fundamental standpoint, and you can buy dips on. I independently was intrigued by his reporting on this and dug into the capital structure, dug into the fundamentals, dug into the valuation. And yeah, look, they are a direct beneficiary of AI in terms of the tools necessary to advance their business. Their business, by the way, is managing influencer campaigns. So not only creator content tools, but engagement tools, things that well, Rhett, track the actual engagement. And they've had some very material key business wins with the likes of Jeep and Nestle and Kellogg and Owens Corning and F1 the movie and so on. So the stock didn't really react to a quarter that saw them inflect to operating cash flow positive because there were some concerns about their backlog, which went down. They talked about that. Large part of it was coming out of one customer, and it was simply timing. But look, here's a name. It's trading at 2.2 times on an EV to sales basis. It's trading at under 15 times on an EV EBITDA basis. It's trading on the published consensus number, under 11 times earnings for 27. I know that there are numbers out there that are 50% in excess of the consensus numbers. So, that number might actually be somewhere close to 8 times. So this is a name that will get bought on dips. And the same thing is true for names, in my opinion, like BZAI, names like AIP, names like HNRG on the coal side, BTU on the coal side. They're participating because they're related to the themes, but they aren't in the Oklo high flyer cap.
Awesome. Yeah, another name I want to mention too is Amazon. I think they were laying off 15% or something. Key level here, guys, for Amazon around 214 area. I think it may be a magnet here to pull back down, continue. If we don't bottom here in the little bit and the market flips on us, it looks like it's starting to. Where's QQQ? I can't find it on here right now. But sorry about the lines. Bouncing back. But I still think that this can make lower lows for Amazon here in the near future. And that's that. And then I just want to give the Godfather credit to our community. He called out these AIP calls that are up over 70% today. And that was only in a span of 7 days. So 70% on those, and they don't even expire for another month. So thank you for that call out. Another one that we were crushing too is LPTH. Still in calls on this name. I think I'm up 40% at the moment. But we picked these up 2 days ago. So we picked these up in Power Hour, me and Ben, right around here on the live stream when it was in the 8s.
Yeah, I joined you on that, and that's another name like BITF where, look, it's less defensible on a valuation basis. So to the extent that from a thematic basis, it's a focus of the market. I'm trading it. I'm trading it on a short-term swing basis or even on a day scalp basis. And to the extent that I have profits, I roll them in and I just keep building bigger positions in these names that I know will approach fundamental value because they are in the right sectors, like AIP. AIP is right at the top of that list. This thing will slowly grind, to the $18 to $20 range. Where will LPTH go? Well, I think it, chops here between, 850. You have better read on this on the technicals, but we're sort of beyond now where the fundamentals support it. So, buy it in the 850s, sell it on breaks of 10, and then roll profits into something where, you could confidently say that, in a month or more, will be 20 to 40% higher. And of course, if you play that through options, you can capture even greater returns.
Yeah, short-term targets I gave for the community yesterday were first was a $10 target, which we exceeded, and then followed by 11.20, which that was the top this morning in pre-market. I mean, not much volume. Then volume this morning for LPTH, so you can't get a good read until it really opened. But yeah, so my next target for LPTH for the short term is 11.20, and then once we get there, I will reevaluate and see how we're going to go. So
one name, and the one thing I'll just point out, I see Ryan's going to give us the hook here in a sec. HNRG, the stock is 22.30 at a new high of the day. BTU 33.27 and a new low of day. I own both. As soon as I get off this call, I'll be taking some profits in HNRG and rolling them into BTU.
Nice.
Awesome stuff. No Ben again?
No, today. So this is the last holiday for him. I thought it was last weekend, but this is the last week.
Hard to keep track of all the Jewish holidays. There's so many. They're all concentrated this time of year. And then
that's fine. I just because Rhett said last week we would do it. So okay, he'd be back this week. So
he'll be back next week. We told him no holidays for 6 months.
Promise.
I promise you this time.
Guys, really good stuff as usual. Go take those gains, Godfather. Really good stuff. We'll see you next week. All right.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Take care. That is Rhett. I just removed myself. That's really awesome there. Okay, for real this time. Rhett and the Godfather. We'll be back tomorrow, folks. Benzinga's pre-market playbook will resume again at 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. We also have the Futures Forward segment tomorrow. For the rest of your hump day, stay green, stay safe, and stay focused.